Welcome, race fans, back to SVR. It has been a hell of a long break, but we are right back into it, and we're going to hit some fantastic shakedown action for you today. Lots of sprint-style races with the proper settings for everybody to get themselves underway and learn how to go racing if they're new to it, and test out their new equipment, of course. This is the team situation as things stand at the moment. Teams might be subject to change. Those teams that are named after colours, we may be able to secure some title sponsors before or during the season. But it is season 3 of the 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship here, brought to you by SVR Racing. By way of introduction, my name is Webo. Very pleased to be brought back in to see you all out here. And Hector Motorsports are our first title team. That's Bibar and Rhino contesting in the purple. Then we have Oro Racing in the golden colours of Ian and Lilai from the UK and Norway respectively. We have Obsidian Racing for Zenith and Grant Me Peace, who I will probably refer to as Grant throughout. And then we have Zelen Racing with Monkey Games and Lord Top Hat, our Antipodean combination, racing out of Australia and New Zealand. Team Morado in the purpley pink. We have Brum and Black Evo in the 8 and 46 cars. And then we have Azul Racing making its stunning return with Ping Slayer and Daddy Banana. I would imagine I'll be referring to him as Banana throughout. It's a little bit awkward. But Ping Slayer and Daddy Banana there in the 255 and the 65. We have Argento Racing completing our main run there. I've got a no race number for Joel Bear. I don't know if it's Joel Bear or Joel, but we will hopefully get into that in the 0, and also Sock in the 55, and the Argento referring to silver in its colour, obviously. So the drivers are just trackside. I will do my level best to try and keep you entertained throughout today, and we'll be bringing in Mr. Bean's Brum himself as well, hopefully later on, technology being willing. Hi to Brum himself, who's already tuned in, and to Dummy, to Scorpion Dynasty. Hello to you, and to Run DMC, and also hello to my former teammates, Darkstar Finn. Great to have you all with us. If you are brand new to us, do say hello. Tell me who you have found that might be a good driver to support. If you are here for a specific driver, I absolutely love to hear from you as to who you are supporting. You can see Lord Top Hat in the green Brocaga colours, but it's actually Zelen out there. And hi to Travis as well. Scorpion Dynasty is Tap, by the way. Thank you very much, appreciate that. And a little Spinala there for the Ferrari just in the background. There is Jody High Roller. Hopefully we'll get some reasonable names that I can actually predict. Rhino, who is testing out the GT3 Porsche, which is a beautiful sounding and looking beast. This may be an interesting track in the Hector Motorsports car to be sampling the Porsche, as we've also got fairly overcast conditions, but we won't be worrying ourselves about rain. Team Oro in the Porsche as well. Then this is Ian on track right now. So Darkstar Finn says Joel can be called Jody, and he's a guy. Thank you very much, Darkstar Finn. That is very useful information. And hey to VR Hot Laps. We're making a habit of bumping into each other via Hot Laps, which is great to see. So great to make new friends. Do I detect a little bit of is that a teeth pattern on the front of the Porsche? Is that what we've got going on here? I hope so, because we've got to have our different options. This is my neighbour Totoro, is on the side of the car there. But Team Oro looking very good. A friend of PSV Racing, the gold and the black today. We're just warming up the cars, getting used to these brand new liveries as well. It's great to be back with you all. I hope you all look forward to a stunning season of 12 rounds. We have a nice mid-season break as well, which is going to help. It's Totoro teeth on the front, says Darkstar Finn. This is beautiful, actually. I love the asymmetry and the color mix there on the rectangles. I hope that is separate rectangular stickers for every single color. I imagine not, but you've got to dream sometimes. And then stripes on the side as well. Beautiful, beautiful. As Phil says, good to have the broadcast back again. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy to be back with you all. Lilac. I'm reliably informed that it is pronounced Lilac. We did have a question whether it was Lily or Lily or Li or Lili. It's definitely Lili. I'm going to confuse myself if I keep doing options in a minute. This is a beautiful combination. Who could possibly go wrong with purple and green? That is early era Batman colours of the Joker, of course. Racing against Cancer on the sill there as well. Team Morado is your new GT3 and G2 team here. The 008 of Brum. He won't thank me for catching that particular moment, but he's just showing off in the Ferrari here in the 296. Then we go over to Jody in the 22. Looks like we might accidentally have a default livery here, or it hasn't been sorted out just yet. This is a shakedown. This is the opportunity for us to get ready for everything, of course. B-Bar rocking his Hector color scheme. I really like the approach from everybody here to just do the liveries. Very oversized Michelin sticker there on the wheel arch as well, shaped and skewed very, very nicely. Looking really good. Now Azul are actually wearing quite a bit of color change green here, which is slightly confusing, but they've gone for sort of a matte black. Azul being a being the word for blue, of course. So it's a little bit confusing. I think that in most lights it will look blue, but it's a blue-green color fade in the Lamborghini Huracan. So looking good there. The 65, and that is the banana. Rocking a red race suit as well, possibly a Lightning McQueen race suit. Can't quite tell from this angle. We've looked into Rhino, and we can see that Team Oro have got their liveries all set up on their pit crew as well, so they are all set to go. That is a very, very good livery, I have to say. So congrats to everybody. Darkstar Finn saying that Azul is trying to steal Team Zelen's colour scheme. We do deliberately try and choose different primary colours, of course, and majority colours or colour pairings for our drivers, because it helps identification on track naturally. Of course, here we have Jody High Roller, or Jody, or Joel, just in that Carlsberg livery for now. So yeah, welcome to SVR Racing. If it is your very first time with us, hope that you can find a new driver to be a fan of, or a new team to identify with. It looks like Black Evo's livery hasn't quite come through. I do have a fix for this. I do have an approach where I can fix this. The Peugeot RCZ or RCZ. If I'm not broadcasting to a majority American audience, I can go back to calling it the RCZ. Otherwise, I sound quite odd to the rest of the world. Here is Argento in the silver, black, and different colours. Redux asking, is there another view where I'm showing the screen? Yes, absolutely, Redux. Over on SVR channel, so you can have both streams up if you so wish. So head over to @svr-racing.com, and there is the official live stream. So you can enjoy the racing. All live races this season will be on the SVR Racing channel. RCZ is correct, says Darkstar. Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad we continue to agree, my good friend. Well, you can see Argento being the main sponsor. We've got a little Webo sticker there on the side of the car as well. But this is very well put together, and that's going to be an easy car to get used to. This is Peace Duke. Now, I haven't seen him in the main driver ratings, and he is racing the Subaru. So I think he's here. To continue and try out, potentially show his skill and ability here in the shakedown. But I haven't seen him on the on the system. As VR Hot Lab says, wish my voice was as smooth as yours. Sound like a Wish version of Danny Dyer. Very nice. Okay, it's an overtake, mate. That's what it is. Come on. A bit of that. Then we've got Grant then in the Liqui Moly Red Bull colour scheme here in one of the only BMWs. So again, drivers just demonstrating themselves, trying to win a seat potentially elsewhere or be first pick among reserves. So we'll get used to everybody here. Grant then in the 22. I think Grant actually is on the main team here. Let me just double check my notes as Stephen Salent there, better known as Larry, says hi. Hello to you, my good man. Great to have you joining us, as always. But yes, grant me peace for Obsidian Racing here in the BMW, who will be racing with Zenith. But I haven't seen Zenith actually on the track yet. Ian's just parked up to show his cars. Nice and scenic under the balloons, and he rocks a Nigel Mansell helmet as well, which gives him extra credit from me, I have to say. There is the banana. Oh man, I hope he changes that name. Brum's waiting in the pits. I'm just going to make sure everybody is a-okay. We should hear a klaxon sound when we get underway for the qualifying. I think the qualifying session. Let me just double check the situation. No, we're going straight into the race. In fact, we're going straight into the race right now. So there was absolutely no warning for me, but it did say on the hour. So we will get ourselves ready. We're going to go for a rolling start here, as you would expect, and we'll be ready to rock then. Hopefully everybody is ready. We've got Sock in front of Duke, with Grant and Ian on row 2. Lord Top Hat and Rhino on row 3, Monkey and Banana on row 4, as we are getting ready then for a 23-lap quickie around the Big Willow circuit. And it's dropped the clutch, and it's go, go, go for the first time then in 2026. And Sock leading them away in the Peugeot RCZ and screaming by our camera position. Absolutely stunning. Look, the brand new cars here at SVR. Remember, every driver racing in a VR helmet, and it is the only place you will find a VR exclusive World Championship. Black Evo down in 12th. Jody started very, very far at the back in the AMG then in 13th place, but we have Peace Duke then rocking the start, and a big slide already for Duke, the Irishman, as he struggles to get control. And we've had a little bit of argy-bargy heading on into turn 3. Let's have another look at this one. I think we'll get a good view of it if we follow this car. That was Duke getting a slide on, and then we head on into the corner. We've got the BMW on the outside, just slow. And then, of course, we all get a little bit concertinaed, but for now at least, things looking okay at the start. Nobody off dramatically that I can see as we continue then through. And there goes Duke and Sock with Ian Grant, Lord Top Hat and Banana. Lord Top Hat right in the mix here in the G2 division. Falling back slightly, Daddy Banana and Lili with Black Evo. Stalking around in the Mercedes, waiting for his opportunities. They fire out of the final corner. Only 9 corners here, and 9 is actually somewhat somewhat generous for the corner naming, as we have Brum in P9 ahead of Jody. Representing the USA. Monkey Games has had a spill, it looks like, and it's down in 11th place. Rhino in 12th with B-Bar at the back of the grid. Not looking good then for the Hector Motorsports Porsche team at this stage. But I'm pretty sure nobody is going to be sandbagging this one. But let's wait and see. Duke ahead by 2.4 seconds at the start of this race, ahead of Sock and Ian, with Lord Top Hat continuing to fight. Wow, covering our camera with dirt. I wasn't quite sure who that was. Possibly Banana. It might have been Lili. As Top Hat then in P4 ahead of the BMW, driven by Grant, as they head across and over the static camera position. Lord Top Hat looking good then, as he's racing hard towards the early part of his Monday morning here. Him and his teammate Monkey. And of course, they get to practice at similar time zones, hopefully as well. Black Evo in P7. That looked like Lili going just slightly wide through the final corner, turn 9. Before then, we'll have a look. There's a possible Porsche heading down the inside here in the Team Oro colours. There we go. You can see Lili trying to get that inside line through turn 1, the Castrol turn 1, and completing it nicely. Lili up ahead and into his 7th position. Let's have another check of that one. It was side-by-side action here, and then a nice clean overtake as we get into it. And there you have it then, Lili through and into P7. And it's not done and dusted yet, because we've got Black Evo still fighting over that position. Peaceduke, Sock and Ian, your top 3 at this stage, but the race is very young. Only 3 laps completed of the 23, and they are fighting hard through these long left-handers. It's atmospheric, all this dust, isn't it? It's not necessarily great for car identification. Behind them, you've got Brum chasing hard. He's already done a decent length race this morning, our time. We raced together earlier on today. Oh dear me, what a terrible camera angle that one is. Driver's just off in the dirt, off in the dust. I think that's Top Hat slipping down from P4 down into P9, unfortunately, and we'll try and track exactly what happened. Wow, it was a dramatic and beautiful looking slide from Lord Top Hat, but then he digs down into the sand here in the California desert, and unfortunately that was a spill then, but it's very, very common here at Big Willow. So he's now dropped to just in front of his teammate. We've got some side-by-side action happening as well. Looks like Grant and Lili fighting hard. Lots of drivers exploring the dirt here and heading into the left-hander in the middle of the track. This is where things really slow down, and the camber and the change of gradient here at the corners really starts to take effect. You can see still Lili hasn't been able to get his Porsche away from the brand new Ferrari 296. Drivers would be very glad that we're into rolling starts now with that 296. It is dead from the start. The first gear is entirely useless in that car before everything is spooled up and ready to go. That is Grant debuting nicely, but so is Duke and Ian in P1 and P3. That's wide and then very narrow from Black Evo. Lost the back end, tipped it in, managed to save it though, and another close call there. Here comes Jody in the BMW. That looks like Black Evo was peeling across to the inside, but he'd passed the pit lane already. Just clearing out, letting everybody bite, not fighting too hard. The race still only on lap 5 at this point. Monkey Games in 9th, Banana in 10th, Rhino in 11th. We've got B-Bar in 12th and Lord Top Hat at the back of the order at the moment with some damage on the car. Damage is on heavy here at SVR, so it is a purist stream, this championship, but unfortunately you pick up damage and you have to then pit to repair it, so that's going to hurt the car all the way through. We have Sock in P2 in the brand new Argento Peugeot RCZ, the number 55, not quite able to live with the pace of the Irishman Duke out front, but Ian is putting in a really good hunt here for Sock, as he's closing in now, just under 1 second between the two of them. Big gap though, 6 seconds back to P4 Grant as he comes through, and we've got Lili in P5 now, managing to get about a second of a gap on Brum. Black Evo that was, just coming through the camera angle ahead of Monkey Games and the Banana, with B-Bar through in 10th place. This is the gaps at the moment, the live gaps. We've got Jody 4.5 seconds further back. Clouds looking quite threatening. I wouldn't want to be in a hot air balloon in these particular conditions, but as we all know, there is no rain in the Americas in GT7. Rather difficult for us to enjoy. Oh, that's wide from Duke. This could open up the opportunity then for Sock. He will love to see the fact that the car was reset then back to the middle of the track. Peaceduke to an absolute standstill. That is really heartbreaking. Let's see as he just seems to understeer and then get out onto the dirt, into the wall, and as he tries to turn back, he will reset backwards on the track. So straight back to P3 for Duke. Sock taking the lead then on lap 6 ahead of Ian, and we do still then have a fight on our hands, which is what we want to see. Stephen's saying everyone's grandmas are so happy right now. So, because I'm your grandma's favourite commentator, is that the deal? Absolutely love to see that from Duke. I think we might need to watch that from on board. Oh no, it's going to be much better in chase view, but he takes a very early run here, does Duke, into the pit lane and goes completely airborne. I didn't know if you could see a Peugeot fly, but there it is. Brilliant stuff. So absolutely love to see that that kind of action. Driver's just going a little bit wide there. That's Lilac. I think the tyres are wearing out. I did actually confess I did forget to check the tyres. Brum versus Lilac. Brum on the mediums, going the long way around the outside. Try and tuck that car into the apex of the next one, and he goes through. And a nice overtake from Brum. That was very straightforward from him. Really nicely done from him. Front left is ruined, says Dummy, and you have to say that. Duke had warning because he'd just been off on that very left-hand side of the track earlier on. So he did have himself a little bit of a warning. He could have made the decision to either, obviously, to brake earlier, but to pit and get off those tyres. The medium tyres are giving up quite quickly. We want to make sure our drivers have the option to race and be strategic, preserve tyres, I should say. And I do need some information from you all on these shakedown events. Are the all the fuel and tyre multipliers, are they all set to twice what they will be in the race so that we get an effective race distance, or are they set to accurate race conditions even though we're running about half race distance here? So yeah, Brum putting on some speed since last season, says the live chat. You're absolutely right. Brum has been working the wheel, working incredibly hard. He's been using various systems, I believe, to try and get quicker. He's even been writing code and programs to help with the testing process as well for the team and for anybody else who he has shared that software with. So he's definitely very committed, and it's great to see drivers starting to really take things that extra level seriously. We'll see how he translates form from last season in the Red Bull Junior car for our rookies out to now a fully fledged GT3 machine. It's Lord Top Hat here just ahead of Rhino, and you've got B-Bar back in 13th place. Doesn't look good at the moment for the Hector Motorsports team here in G2. This is the battle for the lead at the moment. It is the regular setting for the season, says Rumdinsey. Thank you very much. And that's really interesting. Tyre wear and fuel will be variable from track to track all season. Well, that is a commentator's nightmare. We'll just have to call what we see. And going off goes Ian straight into our camera position. That was painful in many ways, but he's actually saved the car. That's insane from Ian. Check this one out as we follow behind him. 4 times tyres, 3 times fuel today, says Dummy. But this is Ian. Gets on the power in the Porsche, and then the car just wanders out to the left-hand side, drives over the cameraman, and straight back onto the track. Bravo. Fantastic save from him. But unfortunately losing a little bit of ground to Sock, and 1.5 seconds as he was stuck right underneath Sock's rear wing a few moments ago. I don't like that particular camera angle because it's kind of crowded out. Anyway, it's Grant in P3 and it's Brum in P4, making those medium tyres last pretty well here, protecting that front left and the rear left as well for that matter, as Lilac chose the hard tyres to start with. We're going through the fuel as well. It's lap 9 of 23, so target to have used half your fuel by the midpoint of lap 12 if you can, lap 11 even, and we'll see as Ian now pits. He's taken that as a warning, and Ian goes straight into the pits, and VR Hot Lap says, Ian says no filming. That's a good one. Lilac and Ian looking really good here for Team Oro as they start to really condense. Of course, we saw Ian off the circuit. He's come back in for those tyres, and a yellow flag on the track. And I can see who it is. I think it might be Rhino. Let's go back and see Rhino causing the yellow flag then. Well, that was a very slow walk off the circuit for Rhino. And then obviously on the Porsche, super careful to rejoin as well. So as I said, Hector Motorsport keeping their powder dry. They are racing without the benefit of Hector, ironically enough, today, unless they've set up a separate one, as Stephen Casanuevo, who we all know as Nicky, Stefan Casanuevo, is cheering on Brum. Sock ahead of Grant, but then we have this great battle pack of Ian. Oh, that's Black Evo off. That is a rarity. You don't see Black Evo off the circuit very often. He is a very safe pair of hands. He's still rocking last season's race suit by all by all accounts here. And there we can see what happened to him. It's just that front, it's just that left-hand side again, catching that dirt, catching the marbles, and that will cause damage as well, unfortunately for him. So into the pits we go. So back to the action as we go trackside then with Ian in P3, who has made a pit stop. He's on his second set of medium tyres. Now that's quite a strange one for me. He's decided to go for a second set of medium tyres, even though the first set didn't last a half distance of the racetrack. So we shall see. QT's here. Hello to QT. Great to have you back with us. And oh, that's Ian off again. That was a tank slapper. He first off on the right hand side, then off on the left hand side. And we are spilling and thrilling here at SVR today in G2. So let's have a look as he comes in. You just watch the right-hand side of the track, strangely enough. He kind of catches the dirt here. Then that turns the car, and then that is a classic tank slapper as over rotation on the outside. Kind of, well, he was full brakes. There's no criticism there because he was full brakes. You could see on the screen inputs level as we go for Monkey Games in that 6th place. So Ian rejoins in 7th, having made a pit stop behind drivers who have yet to make a pit stop. There's a big chase then for Ian. Peace Duke, who was our leader and who was gifted the pole position here in the Subaru, is currently in 5th place. He has also made a pit stop and he has also been off a little bit as everybody chats about seeing QT, which is great. Lili in P4 in the Team Oro car, I think has now lapped one of the Hector Motorsports cars. That's why he's passing one of those. He's about to catch the other one momentarily. Is there a tyre compound change? I believe in G2 it is free choice, but I don't think you can possibly get a set of hard tyres to the end. We will see how no, let me look at this for Grant on the hard tyres from the start of the race. Wow, spinning off on the dirt side by side. I thought that Sock was the Azul car was headed into the pit lane, but he didn't quite make it. So once again, not quite sure exactly what's happening as this is on board with Grant in the BMW. The Azul Lamborghini kicks all sorts of dirt in his face. I thought one of them was going to head into the pit lane, but no, it wasn't to be. So this is then Grant in P2, 6.6 seconds away from Sock, who is absolutely bossing this one, as Phil just reminds us that yes, you must use 2 different sets of tyres and hi to Matej here, another VR driver. Great to have you with us, and I hope you can join us for more racing action. Remember, we'll be going back to back here today with the Shakedowns on this very stream, so no no issues there. Killer Zombie, who says good to see a Ferrari logo on my shirt. Yes, my younger self would never forgive me for this, but about the time when we started getting Carlos and Leclerc in the same team, I started to see the charm of Ferrari. Brum up in P3, some 14.1 seconds off the lead on the medium tyres as well. Hasn't been into the pit lane yet. Mate says, yeah, I'll be going G1 for Team Argento. Great to see. Okay, tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly as well. That's what I'm always interested in. This is your teammate Sock, who is leading the way here in the Peugeot RCZ, and he's 5.9 seconds ahead. One thing that I'm not aware of actually as well is whether the G1 and G2 teams have had to choose the same car or not. I think they had different choices, and actually there are different teams, but 5.8 seconds in the lead of the race is Sock at the moment, taking things quite calmly, and on the hard tyres no less. He's also got a pretty good balance on his tyre wear. Here is Grant trying to move past another Lamborghini, not for position, but putting a lap on. I wonder if Grant has been off the circuit and has lost ground there. Relatively speaking, 5.8 seconds now the gap, and a 6.6 second gap to this driver, Team Morado's Brum in the 008. Finn just saying, yeah, G1 and G2 are in the same choice of cars. We're at lap 14. Sock has pitted into the second half of our race today, so he'll be targeting a change of compound onto the mediums, I would imagine, at this point, and to just one-stop this race. Lili goes off onto the dirt slightly, and he will be caught by the Hector Motorsports car, who might be tempted to unlap himself. And you can just see in the background, that is Duke as well. Grant pits and rejoins then out into 5th place there in the BMW, and we have him in the 22 car, with Ian chasing up and trying to recover from that off-track excursion in P6. Very few Brits actually in the field here, so it's great to have such an international group of drivers. Black Evo racing out of the United States, of course, in the default Ferrari 296 livery. That may be him, that may be my fault, or at least my temporary data faults. Anyway, as we head through then, Black Evo in 7th position, big gap then for him, and we have Monkey Games in 8th, and Jody here in the Mercedes AMG. I need to just double check on Jody's team name. Jody will be racing for Argento, so in the Mercedes today. Should be in the Peugeot, I believe, so maybe didn't quite catch all of his team emails sorted out. So I would imagine it will be changing car pretty soon. Should be in the Peugeot. We have B-Bar in 10th, who was down in 12th earlier on. B-Bar looks like he hasn't changed tyres yet either, and is keeping these medium tyres working nicely actually on the Porsche. Of course, you balance out the front and rear tyre wear in the Porsche if you've got a front limited track like this one, so that is helping, but not quite sure. I mean, he's basically staying on the medium as long as possible. There is Lord Topat in the McLaren for Team Zelen in the green and black. It's very similar though to the Team Azul car livery at this time. I think we need a little bit more obvious blue on the Azul car. Let me know what you think, because this is kind of a bluey green color change here for Azul, and that is Daddy Banana in P12 with Rhino, the second of the Porsche Hector Motorsport drivers, and Rhino's off the circuit, unfortunately. Here we go. It's a big deal to try and hold on to these Porsches at a very tricky track. He has stayed out on to lap 15, but straight into the sandbank there, and that is going to take some retrieving. We don't have reset to track here at SVR. It is, as I say, a very purist style of virtual motorsport. Sock leads by now just 2 seconds after his pit stop. He's been able to pit and come back out in front of Peace Duke, who has already made a pit stop and might be marginal with 5 laps to go then on that front left on the hard tyres. So this is still going to be a straight fight, but brand new medium tyres for Sock. That car is going to be feeling absolutely glorious right now. He's been running the low grip hard tyres for the bulk of the race through 16 laps, and then he comes out and he's got a nice little sprint on some medium tyres to go as well. There's a car off in front of him, a little distraction. That looks like it might well be Daddy Banana. It is Daddy Banana, and he might have beached the car, unfortunately. He might have no choice but to take a reset to track here. Let's see as he turns the car in. Still on fairly new hard tyres, but the rear gets away from him. He counter steers and then unfortunately stuck off the banking there and off the track now, obviously waiting for a decent time to rejoin the race. But this is the battle then at the front of the field. Peace Duke and Grant, 0.2 of a second only separating these two as we bring the cars towards the final furlong here of the car. I'm just reading Darkstar Finn's comment there. Azul actually translates to slow in French Canadian. I'm not sure that's true. I think you're trolling me, because it means blue in Spanish as far as I'm aware. Anyway, it's Grant, half a second away, and they are trading the opportunity to get into the dirt with a couple of tyres. There's Ian's not far away. Ian's got great pace actually when you look at it. His best lap, a 1:13.5. Duke has a 1:11.9. Remember, he was gifted the pole position today from a, I would imagine, random grid, as we've got Grant then having made his way by Duke on the much older tyres, unfortunately, as we see how that worked then from Grant's perspective. Well, Duke made it somewhat easy, didn't he? Because there we go, straight on by and just walking on past. So not a difficult overtake that time for Grant, but of course he put in all the work to get into that position. The gap between Grant and Sock, 3 seconds as we head on into the final 4 laps. Then medium tyres for both drivers. Grant stopping slightly earlier than the other ones, but Sock currently trying to extend that gap once again, and Grant with a decent amount of grip in comparison to Duke, who stopped slightly early, I think slightly earlier than perhaps he scheduled, but he went medium to hard, and this second phase of the race not anywhere near as good for him as the first phase of the race. Brum started very near the back, if not the absolute back, in the Team Morado 296, and here he is in P4 and putting up a great fight at this time. We've got Lili in 5th place and Ian in 6th place. Ian with a spill earlier on, but working his way back up. He's got a near 22-second deficit out to Sock, but I would imagine still aiming for a top 5 finish if he can manage it. Black Evo's in 7th position with Monkey Games in 8th, just ahead of another car, but that is a lap down. I believe that might well be the banana. This is Jody in the wrong livery and the wrong car, ahead in P9 there, making his debut with B-Bar in 10th place. Lord Top Hat in 11th. This has not been a shakedown to remember, but plenty to learn. And this, I believe this season we're taking our drivers to different locations for the season shakedown and the season opener, which I believe is in Interlagos. I will confirm that for you in a few moments. Here is Daddy Banana then in P12, just ahead of Rhino, who's been wrestling that Porsche for some time now. It's difficult for us to actually see him there for a moment. Sock's gap 2.5 seconds. It is hovering. It is staying fairly stable. Grant is keeping Sock definitely within sight here. I wonder how the BMW is feeling. That front left is very second best. I hasn't been able to protect that very much with the setup, with the tyre, with the brake balance even. So this will all be learning for everybody. Redux saying good save by Brum. Let's just see if I can catch that. Can I? Whoa. Love it. Absolutely love it. Let's see that again from behind the car, because that should be quite fun. There he is, sideways. Good save. Absolutely. Love to see it. So great that we managed to catch it as well. Back up to the lead though, just 3 seconds between the two of them. I think these are the key gaps. I think the only other cars that are next to each other on track, that is Lili, who's made a move past Duke. Now I wonder, did Duke have another off-track excursion? Unfortunately, we can't see that in time, but certainly Duke going backwards from P1 earlier on, but he's not letting this one go, as Lili will try and hold firm down the right-hand turn 2 and then steal that inside lane. Going wide goes Duke here. Super close between these two. Lili just trying to hold that inside line until he can get the power down nicely on the Porsche. But this is Peugeot versus Porsche. The very often mispronounced car names here. There we go, once again across the apex. The next one is going to be a right-hander. We go in towards the big sweeping right-hand turn here that seems to never end. Picking your lane through here is incredibly difficult. I've seen overtakes around the outside and the inside through this one, just because drivers find it so hard to stay within track limits. But look at the slipstream for Duke, as again Lili defending fantastically on the inside, just keeping Duke from taking the apex all to himself. But this time there was a touch onto the grass, a tiny little bit of contact, and Lili having to lift out of the throttle, unfortunately. So looks like Duke has managed to get that position back. We'll have a look here. This is on Duke's perspective. Behind them, you've got a nice gap between them, as we will just have a look as Lili, you can see, goes for the apex and just gets too much front end, dips a toe into the sand and gravel, the dirt I should say, and has dropped back quite considerably now. Let's have a check out of Grant in P2. Brum is catching Grant here, 5.7 seconds between them after that little moment. and then we've got a 4.2 second gap at the front. But behind Grant, between Grant and Brum, is the Hector Motorsports car. It's lap 22 of the 23. We are starting the final lap now for Grant. Sock has already started that final lap. Sock will be delighted if he can start this season out with a win. That is looking like Lili off the track again. He's going to let his teammate by, I think, at this point. Here comes Ian. That was Lili just very, very wide. Great view of the track in the far distance there. And Lili being overtaken then by his teammate, thanks to, I think, driving clean off the circuit unaided. An unforced error potentially from Lili, but of course with the tyre wear as it is, Lord Top Hat is on soft tyres, as is B-Bar with Daddy Banana. Rhino is on the softs at the back of the grid as well, but we must not miss Sock here, who in the Argento Peugeot RCZ is looking very good. Phil's saying the BRZ shouldn't be on the track for Season 3. I think it's the Shakedown. I think we'll allow it for now for Duke. I think that was just a mistake. Misunderstanding there for a brand new driver. Obviously, if it were to occur in the main season, we would probably be having words. But the Shakedown race is coming to a conclusion for G2. And who will be on the top step? It's going to be Sock here for Team Argento in the Peugeot RCZ ahead of Grant in P2. Looks like Brum's going to bring this from the back to P3 over the course of this 23-lap race. And we have Duke up there in the Subaru in P4. Ian and Lili will finish together. That's some comfort for the Porsche Team Oro team, as Black Evo comes through in to take home the 7th position here in the 296. Unfortunately, not in the livery, or not showing in the livery at the moment. Here is Monkey Games racing out of New Zealand here, although he is a USA born driver as far as his accent is concerned anyway, for the brand new Zelen Motorsport team. He will come home in P8, and he's got Jody not far behind in 9th place, racing in the incorrect car, but Jody home in 9th place with a lot of learning made and complete here. Looks like Lord Top Hat is just drifting through that final corner as well. Lord Top Hat to finish out of Australia in P10, and B-Bar will be home in 11th. Daddy Banana's finished in 12th, Rhino in 13th. Your winner and podium, Sock, Grant and Brum, as they are on the track there. So that is the first race done and dusted, and we will just look at the provisional results. I doubt we'll be getting into, well, we may get into steward inquiries for the Shakedown events. I suppose it'd be good practice for the stewards nonetheless. Sock ahead of Grant, Brum, Peace, Duke and Ian. A good day for the home fans here at Willow Springs. Lili in 6th, Black Evo in 7th, and Monkey Games home in 8th. We've got Jody, Lord Top Hat, B-Bar, Daddy Banana and Rhino completing the full. No, not full. almost full 13 car grid here at Big Willow at the Willow Springs International Raceway. That was the first race done, and I will be back in a few moments with the next race. So stay tuned, please. let's see if we can get Brum into the chat here. I'll do my best as we try to log on into the division, into the commentary booth. Chat here, ready for Brum. Yeah, absolutely. I was just writing to you to say that you'll be live when you come in, but you are not live just yet, so no worries. Nice. That's cool. Okay, I'm just joining the lobby. I don't know if you are going to try and hijack the lobby or not. We aren't going to have the engineer view of Hector, unfortunately, which is annoying. No Hector today. Great.
Go for the start of the season. I've just got a few crinkles to iron out, and then I mean, it's moved. It's just.
Second. Lobby is up already in the S2 bracket. I will probably have to. I'm assuming that you don't have access to S2 chat space. Okay, it's in there. The code. I didn't want to read it out on stream, but it's in there. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I think Senor Dude has dropped that one ready for us. So yeah, we're just a couple minutes out from the start of the race. I'll bring Brum in momentarily, but this is how the teams are looking for S2. Igala are in the top of the standings at the moment, at least, and they are represented by Nintendo and Yank the Tank. Nintendo, one of the most loyal members of my channel membership. Actually, he was the very first and the first person to buy a shirt from my merch store as well. So Nintendo and Yank the Tank for Igala. Mega Racing return and are back with Jailhouse Chris and Senor Dude, and we have PSV Racing represented by Hobbit and Thump. Hector Motorsports will be John Pauly and Joe Gone Sim, with Bro Karga fielding Scavi and Lucas. We have Cyan Racing, Biggerwood and Sir Grinch, and Rosa Racing in the pink with Liquid Gecko and AMAC. So it's great to have everybody here. We're just waiting for the lobby to get underway. Brum's managed to get himself into the lobby. Welcome, Brum, to the stream.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. Honoured.
It's awesome. It's fantastic. And we can. I don't want to give too many spoilers out for the previous race, but I imagine you're feeling pretty good after a race around Big Willow.
I am just on the come down now. Yeah. Are we at liberty to share how that played out? Do we need to be quiet about it?
No, I think it's okay. I think you can go ahead and talk about your race at very least. I imagine anyone.
Your boy got a podium. Yeah. Your boy got the podium. It wasn't a sure thing. I had some doubts over tyres at the end. I was going for a medium soft, so I thought I may have pushed. Well, I thought I was going to be stretching the softs a little longer than they had life in them, but they held on, and yeah, got a P3 on the shakedown. So hopefully that's the first of many, and we'll hope to see another podium on round one.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course you started at the back as well, so let's not forget that. So you moved up from the back.
It was, I think I started in about 9th, so it wasn't the back, but
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
There was some traffic for sure.
Good. Okay, well, I mean, near the back anyway. We're getting ready then for the S2 race. Similar length, 27 laps for the S2 machinery, which of course will be slightly quicker. This is racing the SF23 car, as we have done for every year of SVR, and in fact the precursor to SVR as well. Bron will be watching, hopefully from somewhere near the back. We'll be focusing on the frontmost drivers as usual at the start of the race. Lucas and Scavi have been given the pole and front row starts, with Senor Dude and Joe Gon Sim in P3 and P4. We're getting 5 lights on then for a standing start this time at Big Willow. And it's dropped the clutch and go immediately. Scavi fantastically well off the line as Senor Dude dropping down the order very quickly. So it's Scavi ahead of Joe Gon Sim and Senor Dude in P3 with we've got Sir Grinch in 4th position. Lucas D. Rich heading to try and steal that 5th position. That is Grinch in the BMW colours ahead of the 2 pink Panthers of Liquid Gecko and AMAC in P5 and P6. We've got Michel Keefe home in that 8th position at the moment, with Nintendo out in 9th place in the brand new Igala colour scheme, which I will show more in detail later on. Scavi leads ahead of Joe Gon Sim, Lucas, Senor Dude and Liquid Gecko as they get into the technical section in the first lap. Go for it, Brum. What are you seeing out at the back?
Looks like a fantastic start out of everybody. I do think that unfortunately the liveries haven't loaded for me.
Yeah, they don't always, and I forgot to do my temporary file reset, which is the usual trick. I've got some, but not all. So we've got Joe Gon Sim in P3. Lucas took a nice overtake there. Let's have a quick look then at the start of the race as the cars were filing through here. The pink machines making their way through for Team Rosa. And certainly looking very strongly aggressive out there at this early stage. But everybody behaving themselves quite nicely, Brum, and away quite cleanly. These are not complete newcomers to VR racing.
Oh, I think you may have just jinxed it there. Where we're just on the more complex of the track. Looks as though there was a bit of contact and somebody paid a price. Who was that?
Let's have a look. See if we can see from the Igala car at the back. Oh, it was one pink car off, followed by another who's completely unsighted. Brum, we saw in the previous round just how much dirt and dust is kicked up by the machinery here at Big Willow. How much of a factor was that for you when following another car today?
What I actually noticed today, which I don't think I've ever noticed before, or perhaps I've not been close enough to the pack to see it, but I was actually seeing what looked like little mist clouds of dust. So you at least got a bit of a heads up as you on your way up to them that it was going to happen. But in terms of traction, I did consider running the hards. I felt that they were probably a little too loose to be trusting throughout the whole course, but the mediums and the softs did a good job. But you definitely do feel the loss in traction when you go through a section where there's plenty of dust kicked up, unfortunately.
We've got Scavi and Lucas out in front, just starting to walk away from the pack here. Joe Gon Sim in 3rd and Senor Dude in 4th. AMAC with a great start here in the bright pink Rosa car in 5th position. Really impressive start from him, escaping all the trouble earlier on there.
Nintendo's
gone off the track. Let's have a look at Nintendo. Yeah, we can see, and there's a car stuck entirely behind the barrier out there as well.
Way.
That was crazy stuff. What is happening? This is the very aftermath. I've never seen 2 cars either side of the race barrier before in this way, but they're trying to get back into the action, but that must be incredibly difficult. Nintendo down at the back. I think that affected Liquid Gecko, certainly affected Sir Grinch as well. So a big loss, but I don't think it's my first time we're going to see cars having difficulties today here at Big Willow. Scavi ahead of Lucas, the 2 teammates putting in a really good run at the moment in the Brocargo colour scheme, the black and the green, that makes a welcome return to racing here at SVR this 2026 season. So Joe Gon Sim in 3rd. We've got Senor Dude in 4th. The front 5 really untroubled at this stage. Just checking in on the live chat there. Thanks to Crooked Wookie, he enjoyed Crooked Woody. He enjoys the pairing of us both together.
There for you.
Absolutely. And we've got VR Hot Laps just informing the drivers that there is actually a wall right there. So yeah, almost worth going back to the pits. Thanks for that, VR Hot Laps. The drivers will absolutely appreciate that later on, I'm sure. This is Senor Dude.
We can get a message to them down on the pit wall now. Make sure they're fully aware of where
absolutely.
the walls
I think VR Hot Laps needs to get a pit board out there for the drivers and just get in there there and just talk about it. There is the Team Mega car making a very nice overtake at this early stage of the race into that turn 1, which is the Castrol left-hander turn 1. And let's just have a quick replay of that action as he got that slipstream, he got the inside line, and it was all done very nicely before they hit the crest on the exit of the corner. Thought you were breathing in to speak then for a moment, but unfortunately Senor Dude has gone off the circuit just as we were talking about his successful overtake, and we see that so often with drivers who are having to reseat and reevaluate their braking points now that they're not following another car, and Senor Dude with a big drift almost collected by AMAC on the exit of the very tight and twisty turns 3, 4, 5 here at Big Willow. It's lap 5 of 27. Scavvy and Lucas still way out in front at this stage, with Jogon Sim in 3rd, AMAC in 4th now, up from near the back of the grid, with Mish O'Keefe in 5th position. Senor Dude recovering in the Mega race car in 6th. We've got Liquid Gecko in 7th, so Grinch in 8th, and Nintendo at the back at the moment. We're not fielding quite the full team, the full field at this stage, but I'm sure by the time we get into the real season, Brum, we will have a proper collection of drivers.
Absolutely, and I think what I should probably just disclaim for legal reasons is that neither of us here do actually have any kind of witchcraft going on. It does seem to be that we comment on a driver and perhaps they decided they're going to give us a little bit of a show. We didn't mention Joe that time, but maybe he suspected that he was on the screen. I had him on my focus there for a minute, and he decided to go and have a little touch on the bush out there.
Wow.
He's made it back on though, so good to see that it's not the magic touch, so we say.
You don't often hear of the co-commentator's curse, do you? So.
Well, if we were to review it back, I think the last 2 incidents, I think they were actually a touch of the Webbo.
They're on me.
Webbo mentioned the drivers, and then they went. It wasn't me.
We've got AMAC in P3. I've just been given some information about the earlier race. Joel and Jody are 2 different Jodies.
Okay.
What are the chances of picking up 2 different Jodies on the circuit? So Jody, who was in the race in a different car today, was not in fact the Jody who is known as Joel. So perhaps was just racing a GT3 machine. They felt like, or was told that that was fine. We did see a BRZ and an AMG in the on the field in the GT3 in the GT race. Brum, I don't know if that gave you any pause for for thought as you were running through.
I did see a reference to this. I will admit I had I fully blinkered. I had no awareness of what anybody else was driving other than that they were either in front of me or behind me. I didn't even try and work out who was who. I just saw if there was a car there, then that's where we're going and that's who we're passing. But yeah, the BRZ, do we know where they placed?
Yeah, something like 5th or 6th. They were given the pole position, but yeah, it was a minor spill. As we just follow Sir Grinch here in P8, and just checking in with everybody and the live chat as well. Great to have everyone with us. Let us know where you're joining us from today. It's always good to hear, and who you're here to support as well, or you're just generally an SVR fan. You can support SVR on a monthly basis. Head on into the Discord or on the website to find out how to do that and make sure that we can continue producing great racing. I want to make sure get a good look at this Pink Panther livery for Team Rosa. They really have gone all in with pink and red, some pink monster, and in fact the Pink Panther himself there on the barge board. So they're definitely embracing this Team Rosa kind of scheme here. We like what we see. It's nice to have a standout colour scheme on the track as well. Yeah, it's we don't see everybody's livery perfectly. I'm not convinced Sir Grinch has got the right livery on either, but we've got quite a lot of default liveries for the Super Formula Season 23 on the cars right now, unfortunately. Up at the front, we've got Scavvy, 2 seconds ahead of teammate Lucas for the Bro Cargo team. Looks like perhaps in opposite to what happened last year, Brum, it might actually be easy being green this season in S2.
Looks as though it may well be. Yeah, they're pulling away. What's that? A gap of about 13.5 seconds at the moment from 2 to 3. They're really starting to get a bit of an advantage and really open up the track.
It's about strategy. Obviously, very different conditions and situation here for the SF23s. The cars handle very differently. Scavvy now pits from the lead on lap 9 with about 1/3 of the tank left in his fuel tank. But yeah, strategy is obviously going to be really important. But all cars at the front here at the moment, starting on the soft tyres at the moment, Brum, is that a surprise to you, or are you kind of expecting something like that?
To be honest, yeah, I think that was the general consensus in the G2 as well. Get the pace out early, and then sort of slip off the softs and onto the running shoes, should we say, putting the mediums on. I actually personally opted for a medium softs. I felt that was going to be a better combo for me. I thought I'd stay out as long as I could, which as it turns out, was the strategy for me. It worked out lovely, but there was certainly a concern over whether or not I was going to have enough grip on the softs to last out the remaining number of laps, and I did a miscalculation as well. I made the classic, not including the number of the lap that I was actually on. So there was one addition, but yeah, not surprising at all to see that they jumped out straight in the softs. You need that grip, but maybe have we got everybody on the softs to begin with? Have we got anybody?
Just tracking everybody. We've got Senor Dude off the circuit, unfortunately, and going very far off the circuit at this time. Yeah, a lot of drivers in G2, there was quite a few drivers use the hard tyres out there as well. So this was Senor Dude's off-track moment for the second time today. Just trying to get to grips with this mega machine. That is a change of team for him. And a change of personnel everywhere, of course. It's going to just affect him a little bit, but good to get all these cobwebs blown off from before the start of the main season.
Absolutely. I mean, to his credit, I'm just looking at the heads-up display at the moment. He's down to about maybe 30% on the front, maybe about 40 to 50% on the rear. So yeah, he's going in now for some fresh tread. I think that's probably enough of a push for him to realise he needs to get a new pair of shoes on.
Absolutely, you've got to listen to the car, I think, and that was certainly the lesson. We had some drivers who took note when the car was wandering or putting one wheel on the dirt, and some drivers who, like me, I think quite often I just always assume I've made a mistake and it's not the car coming away from me or the tyres fading. And just persisting on what was perhaps a bad position. Lucas pitted, come back out behind Scavy. VR Hot Laps asks, is the safety car today the karts from Wednesday? Well, I don't think.
If it's not, then it absolutely should be. Why didn't we think of that? That needs to be a standard.
It would have been good, but we were not driving safely, as you'll see if you watch back the Wednesday view, or even just look at the thumbnail on my channel. You can see what kind of fun we had on Wednesday night here. We're trying to make sure that we still have some fun mid-season. We started Wednesday in the off season actually, but I think the consensus was it was good to still get together and have a laugh on a Wednesday night. So it's AMAC in P3. He is currently in that pink machine, 14 seconds off the lead, and he's strapped on some new boots as well.
And good to see that Nintendo's managed to climb up a couple of positions as well. He's up into 7th. He's got Sir Grinch hot on his tail though, only half a second between him and P8, and unfortunately after the let's say the incident Senor Dude has suffered, he is another 8 seconds back from Sir Grinch, so hopefully he can find the pace it needs to get caught up.
Oh wow, Sir Grinch having to check up there a little bit. I had a bit of that earlier this morning actually. I saw my heart rate peak at 127 earlier today, and I could pinpoint exactly when that was likely to have been when we were racing earlier on. But Sir Grinch trying to turn into the corner and finding Nintendo on older tyres there, and definitely on a slightly worse situation for him. As we look on the track map, Senor Dude, some 6.7 seconds further back. This is great camera to ride the roller coaster of Big Willow with Sir Grinch, who peels to the inside, and I think is going to be by quite comfortably by the time they get into turn 1. That was perfectly timed from a really nice move. I didn't see whether it involved a lot of overtake either, but he's managed to make the difference. Of course, the overtake is a feature of the SF23s that is different to the GT3 cars. The drivers have a boost tank, and of course they'll be able to use quite a lot of it in this short race today.
Yeah, it would be nice to have an overtake button on the Group 3s, but I mean, we saw enough people going off on Big Willow. Maybe it would be just be asking for trouble, really, if we could go even faster.
Sorry, I'm just watching Sir Grinch, who's performing some quite strange acrobatics there while off track. This is rivaling our go-kart run here. We'll just check out the replays. He heads off track over a bit of an unseen dip here. Oh, it's not gonna show us exactly what happens. There he is, just jumping over the ditch on the exit of the corner. And yeah, it was SF23s do not navigate sudden ditches like that comfortably, and he is really pushing incredibly hard. He's back off the track again at the exit of the final corner. Really not reining it in at all. So Grinch out there, bit between his teeth, wondering if the red mist has descended at all here, Brum.
I mean, yeah, we all like going fast, but you should probably try and do that on the track, really, not really trying to get air. This ain't Top Gun, Grinch. Come on, mate.
They're not known for their off-road capabilities, these SF23s. Much fun as it would probably be to dirt track race these things, but yeah, certainly I think he'll be a little bit less keen to try that. It's Scavy, Lucas, Amac, Mushoki out in 4th place, with Joe Gon Sim in 5th place. I can see what these Hector Motorsport cars look like on the mini window that comes up when I change driver, and I think they look absolutely fabulous out there as well. Talk to me a bit about the design process for Team Murado's car.
Well, we kind of really, we just slapped it together. I say we slapped it together. We slapped together our own attempt. Well, I say that I did. I had a go at it. Mine was rubbish. So I thought I'm not going to share that with the lads. Fortunately, we do have a resident artiste on the team, Run DMC in, I think he's S1. Awesome. Knows his way around the livery editor, and he threw together something for us that was a little bit more refined than what I'd done with my finger painting job. I think he did a phenomenal job, really stands out. And the concern we had actually was that because of the colour scheme being similar to Hector Motorsports as we got with Team Murado, we were worried that there was going to be some confusion over who was who. So he was under strict instructions to make sure that we stood out, and I think he did a really great job.
Absolutely, yeah. Purple and green, it's very Joker from Batman franchise as well. So there's no problem with that at all. We were just appreciating them. It's a bright and metallic shade as well in comparison to the somewhat muted and deeper purple of the Hector Motorsports. They've got obviously quite a lot of white on the car as well. Here they come, the leaders then. We've got Scavy and Lucas just 2.5 tenths of a second apart at this stage. Medium tyres on both cars. I'm surprised to see them not having put a lot of fuel in. We've still got 10 laps to run here, and there is only a third, just under a quarter of a tank of fuel on these two SF23s. We haven't seen the Brocargas because they've been so far apart from the rest of the field, but we're going to have a race on our hands here between teammates.
Looks like they're really holding it together well. That to me looks as though it's a team that's locked it in, spent the time together on the track and got familiar with each other's place. So Grinch is again showing us what the SF vehicle is capable of off track, and the answer of that is not a great deal. He's recovered well, he's back.
As a co-commentator, you can get away with things like that. That was very harsh, very harsh. I enjoyed it.
No, not a criticism of him, but just the car is not built for going off-road, but absolutely. I think he's done a fantastic job of getting it back on there.
Awesome. Yank the Tank saying, so sad he couldn't make it today. We miss you, Yank. All is forgiven, come back. And we've got the Brocarga cheering Lord Top Hat. Somewhat of a upside down fortunes for the Brocarga team here today in the two races we've had so far. Didn't quite work out, so Lord Top Hat, give us your chapter and verse from the Racing Driver Book of Excuses as to what went down today for the team, or are you just sandbagging in that McLaren and you're just trying to lull everybody into a false sense of security, I wonder, as we continue then on this lap 18 of the 27. Love to hear a race review from you, Top Hat, or any of our G2 drivers. What was it like from getting back into the SVR swing of things? I know you've been racing in a lot of different disciplines, including GT3 and GT4 in the off-season elsewhere, but how did it feel coming back and with a new set of drivers as well, as moving up from the rookie division from last year?
Really exciting. I had as much as I had a fantastic time in the AN division last year, which is now rookies. Excellent car. The Red Bull Junior XF X 2014 is a real joy to drive and handles fantastically. But getting back now for season 3, I thought that now is the time to flex a little bit and have a go in something a little bit more challenging. And as much as I enjoyed seeing a grid full of the AN division vehicle, it certainly does feel nicer on the eye to see a range of GT3s out on the track. Sure. It's a different discipline altogether. Each car has obviously got its benefits and its risks. but I've really found that 296 feels really nice. I'm really looking forward to getting familiar with it over the season.
Especially if you don't have to get it off a starting grid as well, on a standing start.
Absolutely, yeah, that's another really welcome change in my opinion. I don't know how everybody feels about it, but I personally am quite pleased to not run the risk of messing up anybody else's race because I was having my handbrake on for too long and not getting the start away as well as we need it to be. But yeah, rolling starts I think are a fantastic change up for this season.
Awesome. Okay, well, I mean, it's slightly less exciting, I suppose, away from the grid, and we get slightly less action into turn one. But so I'm gonna reserve judgment until we get full qualifying sessions followed by rolling start. I wonder if essentially just the fastest drivers will just get that extra few yards and momentum to just sort of neuter the race somewhat. But I'm sure we'll still get plenty of mistakes. But yeah, that's a slight concern for me. There is always the slight jeopardy of having a standing start, but we'll see how it all shakes out. The front two was getting close, but Lucas has just backed out slightly here. How important do you think, with teammates together on track, how important do you think it is to just establish yourself, even in a shakedown race, as the dominant of the two teammates?
I wouldn't really, I wouldn't want to pass judgment on anybody. I found certainly that so in the off season I was on a few different teams, and I think it's safe to say now there were opportunities for me to take advantage of being the slower driver. So I may have been instructed on a couple of occasions to brake slightly longer through an apex and to maybe come out a little slower to sort of give my teammate that advantage to get away. But in terms of throwing out who's the bigger dog when it comes into the G2 shakedown or indeed the various races we're going to see today, I think it's just good to see what everybody's capable of. And I think what we're keen for is seeing good camaraderie between drivers. I know certainly myself and Black Evo, we run nicely together, and while there are a few opportunities where I felt that maybe I could have gotten past him, I didn't think that would have been good for us as a team. So yeah, it's interesting to see how they play out on the track as a team.
I was watching a video earlier this week actually from a racing driver who's converted to sim racing, and I think I reposted it on my channel, but he was talking about the fact that sim racing teammates are just a whole different beast. It's a bit more like having an endurance team than it is having a kind of single seater or any kind of real life motorsport, because you're not necessarily, it's not a lose-lose situation. You're not competing for team resources or for sort of a more favorable treatment from engineers, and you are more genuinely made faster by cooperating with your teammates. And I think we saw that all through last season. I don't think we had any real sort of beef between teammates or anything here at SVR. I think it's very conducive to a lot of good collegial atmosphere. And of course, we also try and keep racing together for fun as well. And I think that helps bring the community together as well.
I think that really stands for a lot, and as you say, we were not sure as to whether or not we were going to continue through with the Wednesday events. I think that they mean a lot to a lot of the drivers in the community. As you quite rightly say, it gives us an opportunity for team building and just for a bit of a banter and blow off a bit of steam, getting silly with the carts, throwing them up a mountain, or indeed in heavy wet and can't get through the Nordschleife. But it's an opportunity for everybody to be less serious, see what we're all made of, and when we can make mistakes out on the casual lobbies, we can still take learning from those incidents and apply that then when we get back into the serious stuff.
Oh boy, I'm just watching Sir Grinch because I saw him off for a second. I think he might be suffering a little bit of lag here because there was a problem on turn one, the Castrol left-hander, and then he's just hit the narrow chicane, and it's happened again, straight off beyond the limit of the track and spinning, unfortunately this time. So Grinch certainly, I think, having some difficulties out there, but he's obviously going to know what he needs to work on before we get to round one here for the team. Talk of team, we've got 1.5 tenths of a second between the two Bro Carga teammates. Not much in the way of overtake button being used out of the final corner, turn 9 there for Lucas, but he does seem to have a better race car underneath him at this stage, and it looks like Scavy vulnerable with regard to that overtake deficit. Lucas has been a lot more careful. I know Lucas has been racing on iRacing quite a bit, particularly in the F4s on a different league that I commentate over. So he followed me over there, and he'll be gaining a lot of experience in race management, racing with experienced iRacers as well. And this will seem like a slightly easier handling sim to be settling back into in the VR. But he's got that advantage over his teammate now, Brum.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit still left in the tank, and I mean, it speaks for itself. He's running the fastest lap there with a 59.4. I don't think we've even got anybody that's even close to that. Have we on the grid at the moment?
These races are absolutely flying by at this stage. Now we're using the overtake button, but we're actually making a slight loss on that lap relative to our teammate. So it's not going to be for an actual overtake. It's a little bit of electrical boost, but it's not recovered. Unlike F1 in Super Formula, you have one battery and one state and no state of charge at all, so it just drops, and you then have to, a bit more like push to pass was in IndyCar a few years ago. You just have so much that you can use and no more. So I don't know if Super Formula are going to start developing recovery systems for their energy deployment, but I don't think it's going to show up in GT7 very quickly. Now there is a slight problem here, that AMAC is, I was going to say, directly behind the two, but he's not. It's a different Team Rosa car. It's his teammate right now. So AMAC out there, and it's Liquid Gecko who is down in 6th place, just being able to watch this lead battle at least at the moment. Lucas then flies past Scavvy through the final corner. Beautiful piece of driving there from him, and you can see then using that overtake button, so he goes to the outside and then cuts back to the inside in the ever decreasing radius corner, and that was a very, very nicely done overtake. He's got that boost. He's got just what is it, 2 complete laps to run, and he's looking good out there now in the lead of this race ahead of his teammate Scavvy.
Excellent overtake. Just looking at that back, he saw the opportunity, waited for it to open up, and he's straight on that overtake button to fly past. Excellent move.
Very, very good. So we've got AMAC down 27 seconds off the lead of the race, actually, in the Rosa car, ahead of Joe Gonsim, Mush O'Keefe in 5th place. We've got Liquid Gecko in 6th. Gaps, just like they did in G2, really opening up here. We've got Nintendo in 7th, Grinch in 8th. We have lost a driver. I think that's Senor Dude. Out, who unfortunately has lost. So we've got just this one battle left on the grid, with just coming up to one final lap to go, and it is Lucas 0.9 of a second ahead of Scavvy. Lucas still with that little bit of boost left to press on this final lap, just in case. Just keep it in your pocket, just in case your teammate manages to get a move on you, or more likely, I guess, at this point, you start to just dip one tire off into the dirt. So let's wait and see for this. Looks like the Rosa car behind these two actually going faster at the moment in P6. That's Liquid Gecko, as I mentioned. I think he may have put some new tires on. He's actually on the soft tires, so he does have a pace advantage at this time. We'd rather he didn't get involved in the battle for the lead, but I think there's sufficient gap here, Brum, for him to potentially just unlap himself, although it doesn't really gain him anything right now.
No, it doesn't, but just looking at it, I think there is a strategy decision there. He's held on to his overtake button, I think, for use on the final push, but I think the timing may just be slightly out for him. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to use that as much to his advantage as he hoped to be able to. Yeah, the fresh tread and the overtake in the tank, but I'm not sure if he's actually going to be able to gain any position. He's got, what's that, 6 seconds to make up. He needs to...
Lucas wins then in Big Willow ahead of Scavvy in P2. Fantastic finish for those two. Bro Karga absolutely on top here at Big Willow for the Shakedown event. AMAC is just coming through the final part of that turn 9, and he will be pretty pleased, I think, at this stage to get a P3, a podium out of the Shakedown. It's got to give you a lot of confidence heading into the final. And talk about confidence, I think Joe is going to be feeling really good out there, switching to the SF23s out in P4. Mush O'Keefe will be home in 5th place guaranteed, because Liquid Gecko was already finished on those soft tyres ahead of Nintendo. And we have Sir Grinch in P8, and he will be guaranteed that 8th place. But really, it's Bro Cargo all the way here in S2, Brum.
Very well done indeed. They got it in early, they locked it down, and they've not really let anybody else have a look in since. So really well done, deserved win for the pair of them.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I think I'm just checking on the live chat as well, make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments, but another great one there. AJ says, clean one for Scavi and Lucas. Great racing, VR Hot Laps. And Yenk also sending his congrats. Looks like Jailhouse Chris has missed his race time, possibly, or he's waiting to start now. We will see momentarily. But as we shift the focus over to the next division, which is the G1, we will take a short drink and comfort break, and we'll be back in a moment. Here is the standings then, the provisional standings at least. It's Lucas Scavi and AMAC on the podium ahead of Jogon Sim, Mush O'Keefe, Liquid Gecko, Nintendo and Sir Grinch, followed by Senor Dude, who was a DNF in the end. Just 9 cars started, just 8 cars finished. Hopefully though, in G1 coming up, we will have a larger grid for you, but we'll be back for you momentarily, as I said, in for the G1 top tier of GT3 racing. See you in a few minutes. Hello to everybody. Hello, hello. We are back then. Myself and Brum, who's silent for a moment here as we look at the grid for the G1 grid, and we have for Hector Motorsport, Uncle Pants and Nasty. For Oro Racing, Phil and Red. But I think Red is being substituted by... no, he is here. Okay, I had talked that possibly he'd be substituted today. Obsidian Racing has Apex Not Found and Dirtbag Larry. And we have Zelen Racing is Pat Finn and Wask, former rivals from the rookie season last season. So that's going to be certainly very interesting to watch. Zelen Racing, Pat Finn and Wask, neighbours almost in Canadian terms, out in Ontario. We've got Morado represented by 3 drivers, it would appear. Tap, Nicky and Bijan. We've got 3 options for Morado. We'll perhaps ask Brum about that in a moment. We've got Azul Racing back fielding Aria and Tequila Monkey here on the track. So back, the band is back together for Azul Racing. Aria and Tequila Monkey and Argento are fielding Matty Cake and Mate, I think. So that's brilliant. It's Matty Cake, Matty Kake, and it's Mate as well. So we've got an Apex problem from last season. I just need to drop Dirtbag Larry a note, and Brum, we'll bring Brum in as well. So Brum, good to have you back with us here for G1.
Good to be back, ready and raring to go for another race. Just on the question as to why we've got 3 guys on the G1, Tap has very kindly agreed to join us for our engineering needs throughout the season. Mm-hmm. So I think that has maybe just been part of however they've decided to implement that on the Discord. But he has proved to be invaluable in the wealth of knowledge that he has for each of us for our driving styles and what to focus on.
It's fantastic. I'm going to drop the green light to Larry. He was already going to start before I even said. Maybe he's listening in and he knows that I'm ready to go. Anyway, it's a few seconds to go before we hit go on a rolling start for G1, the top tier of GT3 racing, and it's 24 laps in store. I think that's one more, is it, than you guys were racing in G1, G2?
I think so. Yeah, we had 23, so they're pushing the boat out, but not too far. They want to let us see it, I guess.
So some drivers racing with turbos, some without the turbos. We've got Tap racing in his own colour scheme, I think, at the moment. It certainly says Tap on the rear screen, and we've got Wask gifted the pole ahead of Tap with VRX and Finn. The VRX, I think, is Mate. But VRX is what I'll call him at this stage. It's Wask, it's green light, it's drop the clutch and go, go, go here at the Shakedown event for G1. And Wask leading them ahead of Tap, Team Morado's Tap. And we've got VRX in P3 and Finn being hassled already by Red, who's hot to trot, who's absolutely ready for a bit of hard racing, I think, early doors, and he cuts down the inside in the Porsche. Red on the soft tyres is absolutely ready and raring to go. Brum, anything from the back from you?
It looks like it's shaping out pretty safely so far. Tequila looks as though he's keeping an eye on things from the rear there, just chasing up closely behind Zenith Specs. So he's giving him a little bit of a nudge there. I think just a bit of an encouragement to get moving. Yeah, pretty steady, nicely saved through that first complex section. Phil, it looks as though he wanted to have a little touch on the dust, but he's changed his mind and got back onto it. So. Yeah, it looks like a nice and safe first lap out for the gents.
A little bit of a sideways moment there for Finn, who takes a very different line into the corner. I think may get a little bit of dirt on his tyres. And as he turns to, I think, the right here, he's certainly being caught then by your teammate in the Morado colour scheme on the outside. So Pat Finn going from, I think, 4th place down to 5th. Possibly it will be even further. It's Nicky on the outside then. Finn holding firm on the inside, but he's not able to get these hard tyres up and running. Nicky puts himself on the outside, gets challenged by Arya straight away for Azul Racing, who dives down the inside, and he's not going to take a second invitation. Arya joining us back again to start the season, and great to have him with us. One of the OGs from season 1. Nicky Lauda then trying to take advantage of what is a fairly slow Pat Finn at this stage, but a Pat Finn, as I mentioned, on the hard tyres as Nicky is all over the back of that McLaren, and I think slightly too much as he then halts to try and let Pat Finn through. Oh, you nerfs the back of Nicky. I think that was one of those pinball situations where Nicky was trying to do the right thing here after the contact, didn't want to take advantage, went for the outside to the inside move. Pat Finn parks it on the apex, and I think we're about to see, yeah, a Lamborghini just nerf him in the rear for a second there, Brum. It's all kicking off.
Fortunately, it looks as though nobody's taken any damage, though. So, with the best intentions, everybody's done what it looks to be as the right thing. Yeah, would have been a different conversation altogether if somebody would have lost some aero or something.
Definitely. It looks like going round the outside of the final corner was Phil there as Pat Finn continues to struggle on his hard tyres. I must say, this is Phil himself on the hard tyres, and both drivers trying to collect the inside curb on the outside, on the inside of that final corner, and it certainly favoured the Porsche rather than the McLaren. But is that the racing line then, Brum? Do you try to just hook the tyre up into that final part of turn 9?
So, I mean, I did personally find that it was one of those where there was a temptation to just dip it in and hope that the bounce didn't send you off then into an early pit entry. But it's also possible to keep on the throttle and just kind of kiss that tight apex there. But yeah, I can certainly see the desire to just take the straighter line by slightly dipping the tyres in. But obviously, of course, that risk then you've got of having dust on the tyres and on the track is going to make it a messy one for the later laps.
Slightly, I guess, one of those things that's good in qualifying and time trialling once you've got your banker lap in, but maybe not on the hard tyres at the start of a long race. Pat Finn still struggling, it'd be fair to say, in the McLaren, as Tequila Monkey now queuing up the next driver to attack. We've got Zenith Specs behind him and Dirtbag Larry. Everybody in with a good shout here as side by side go Phil and Finn into turn 1, and it's 2 by 2 as they run through that turn 1 here on lap 4. It's so strange, I have to say, to see Larry in something other than an Audi. He really made that car his own last season. So here he is in the BMW then with the darker blue and purple. Oh, that's Phil. That is Phil all the way round in the dirt. Unfortunately, Phil off the circuit, and we'll see exactly what happened for him. A noble message on the outside. Let's hope that it's not contact. That was, I think, Larry walking through the inside line. Phil gets out onto the dirt, following Larry, stuck with visibility, and that was very dramatic. Could have careered into everybody else, but in the end managed to stop the car actually on the circuit, just facing slightly the wrong way. Drama for Phil. No drama at this stage for Wask, who leads the race on the medium tyres by 2.5 seconds ahead of Tap in his testing livery, I'm going to say, for the Team Murado here. He's got that classic camouflage paint on as Red pits off the soft tyres after just 4 complete laps. That's very, very early to be taking a pit stop. We'll see what decision he makes in a few moments. I don't know if our live audience have got any more information as to whether there are different tyre and fuel combination multipliers in the G1 than there were in the G2 race, but we'll wait to hear about that. Tap with an impressive debut at this point, Brum, for your team Murado.
Tap, no surprises at all that he's up there at the front. Tap is absurdly fast, and we are absolutely leveraging everything we can out of him. Really good at giving us tips on where to gain pace. Not just pace, but also in racecraft again. Just a bit of a heads up. It looks as though Louis has decided that he wants his squeaky toy, so I may mute on occasion here. And if I've gone to, there we are. I'm just going to do everybody the benefit of just hushing my microphone for a moment while I do that.
No problem. Just let me know if you've got everything sorted. Louis, by the way, is Brum's dog, in case you were wondering. But Finn in P5 and VRX then chasing him down in the Argento Peugeot RCZ. Finn, I think now, fair to say, into a bit more of a rhythm. Managed to get a 1:15.4. There you go. Look at the improvement over the last 4 laps for Finn as he's really taken his time to bring those hard tyres in. There's a wondering from me whether he's going to actually take those really deep into the race. Make use of this full tank of fuel while you have to have it, and be on those hard tyres. A little bit of dust and dirt to follow into as Red has come out of the pits. He's put the medium tyres on. He's now 21.4 seconds off the lead. This could be really interesting for Red because Brummer, he's just come out in front of a battle. and it looks like he could if he can string together some good laps, he'll be in a really good position to perform the undercut here.
So he's coming straight out on fresh treads into a good position, and as we know, Red, he doesn't shy away from a battle, so be very interesting to see what he can come up with now.
Definitely. Dirtbag Larry and Zenith in the BMWs there, both back in P9 and P10, and they are racing for Obsidian, that's hence the dark colours, as that's looks like Tequila Monkey then on the defensive, and Dirtbag Larry getting by. Now these two came together frequently last season, but that was a really nice, smart move from Dirtbag Larry. In fact, let's just have another look at that from him. Not a place you see a lot of overtakes, as he does it before they get into the first part of that turn 9, but he managed to get a good run and cleanly through. So nice work from Dirtbag Larry, who's out there now in P7 ahead of long-term rival from Season 2, Tequila Monkey, of course, our SF23 champion from Season 1, Tequila Monkey, and is now in his second season of GT3 racing.
Yeah, seeing some really good pace out there today. Really impressive performance from everybody so far.
Tequila Monkey 2 tyres on the dirt. Zenith Specs following him 4 tyres on the dirt. So that was quite a little moment. Oh, Red looks like he's been off, because Red has dropped down to 11th position. I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch that in the replay buffer, but Red has dropped right back down and out of contention. So unfortunately, Red coming out in a great spot there to try and do the undercut has unfortunately leaned on his new tyres slightly too much. Wask leads by 4.4 seconds now, really starting to drop the hammer on Tap, who I'm sure, as Brum assures us, is absolutely no slouch whatsoever, because these are our top GT3 drivers. Both Wask and Pat Finn moving up from first and second in the rookie division in a downforce car straight into a GT3. That is, you know exactly how hard that is, Brum, to switch codes like that, and I'm not sure they've had the benefit of the off-season. I think they carried on racing their Red Bull Juniors in the off-season in another league, so they didn't switch as early as you did over to the GT3.
No, but I mean they're very accomplished, very capable. I'm sure it was no problem at all for them to switch this discipline out from the Red Bulls over to the Group 3s. And I'm just seeing there that looks as though we've had somebody else off track there. Was that Finn who's just lost it?
I think it looks like Finn. Yeah, he's dropped back behind Dirtbag Larry and now Tequila Monkey. I was just reflecting there on just how many Canadians we have on the grid. So Pat Finn, 2 wheels on the dirt, has to do a bit of an off-track rejoin there, and a difficult position. Yellow flags obviously flying, and unfortunately for him, unsighted behind, we had, I think, one of the Team Azul Lamborghinis coming straight into the path. So not the best situation there for Tequila Monkey, who lost time as a result of that rejoin from Finn. Wask leads Tap and Nicky Lauda. Great payday at the moment for Team Murado, if we were paying for the shakedown races. I guess we pay in kudos and bragging rights. But that's
absolutely
the way it is. And you'll take that all day long, I'm sure, Brum. Tequila Monkey in 7th. Dirtbag Larry's just in front of Tequila Monkey. 5 seconds now, thanks to that little slowdown for Tequila. Dirtbag Larry on the hunt here, 28.9 seconds off the lead of the race. Hasn't been able to get get this BMW around. Which do you think is perhaps from the best of the cars here for this particular Willow Springs racetrack?
I honestly think that the Lamborghini is probably one of the better choices. It's a very balanced car, and with the right driver, that thing. I don't think it is a 4-wheel drive, because they're all rear-wheel drives on the Group 3s, but it certainly feels as solid as I think some 4-wheel drive cars could be. The other one to look out for is that Peugeot. Real underdog. Really handles phenomenally well. I think it sacrifices a bit of the straight line speed.
It will be an unusual sight for people coming new to GT3 racing to see a Peugeot take on a Lamborghini as he goes right round the outside, does VRX. But if you've been racing in GT7 or commentating on GT7 through 2025, it'll be no surprise at all to see one of the French cars going very quickly. I think you had some experience in, was it the Megane earlier in the year? Was that the GT4 Megane?
Yeah, had a little stint over in another league. fantastic car to drive. Felt really, really good. The Renault's a phenomenal car. Yeah, briefly forgotten about that. That was an absolute treat. The Renault Megane Group 4 was a really, really enjoyable car to tear around the track.
Very much so. So VRX in P4 now, ahead of Aria, who was very close to the title in season 1 with Tequila Monkey for this Azul Racing team. They'll be super glad to have it back, because Tequila Monkey last season wore the Azul Racing name on his car throughout the season under the Kimi's ownership that we had temporarily. It'd be good for me to just mention, as Wask goes into the pits from the lead, that there are still some open team title spots available if you are connected to a business or own a business that would like to have their name featured here. Then there are still some teams available. The ones with colours as their names are typically the ones that you'll take as available for the running today, and that would boost your brand no end, because you'll of course be talking about your name all through the season, but also be a very, very welcome addition to the team coffers and the league running as well. So we try to make sure we bring everything to everybody at the minimum possible cost, but it is still quite pricey, especially those server prices for the likes of Hector and our race analytics Brum.
Whoa. Absolutely.
Oh, Wask! Sorry, Wask is off on those brand new hard tyres, discovering just how hard that McLaren is to tackle. That is huge, actually, for our race here, because he's having exactly the same kind of trouble that his teammate Pat Finn had earlier on. Wow. Can't quite believe what I'm seeing. There he goes. Just slightest misjudgment, and he's off into another zip code, Brum.
It looked as though, just from what I saw, there was a little bit of a snap, and he tried to correct, and it was a bit too much, sent him straight out into the dirt.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Really, really big moment then for our former race leader and pole position sitter, Wask, and one of the hot favourites here, I think, for the season. That, of course, promotes Team Murado's Tap into P1, VRX into second place, and Aria into P3. Tap there racing that testing livery for the Team Murado colour, Ferrari 296, as he runs through. That was a huge, huge one for him. And certainly something to reflect on for Wask, whether it's sensible to switch onto the hard tyres mid-race on a very low grip circuit such as Willow Springs. What can you talk about what can you tell us, I should say, really, about the setup demands of Big Willow? Is it all downforce, or is it more subtle than that?
Well, I will let you in on a little industry secret here, is that I made zero preparation for tuning on this car, for this track. I actually reviewed some of the notes from the team. We were discussing what would be the optimal selection for natural frequency moving forward, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try this screenshot. So I've just gone with, I went for a max front, max rear, and I'm not going to give my natural frequency settings away, because I think that might be considered trade secrets, but it held really well. The car felt really, really nice. I probably could have had a bit more straight line speed, but it felt really solid throughout the race. It was a really good choice, in my opinion.
You were one of the few drivers I didn't see off on the dirt, so I think that was obviously a big help. So that was good. I mean, maybe I missed you being off on the track at various times, but certainly I didn't catch any notable moments. Here is Pat Finn then on the comeback now, at the end of his hard tyre life. It's lap 13 of the 24, goes to the outside of Tequila Monkey and the outside of the circuit, and actually grounding out the car on the track limit there between the edge of the track and, of course, the dirt ditch. And unfortunately, I thought that was going to hold all the way around, Brum, but yeah, it just, unfortunately, there was no grip out there, I think.
No, there's unfortunately that section, the car is going out that way, and if you're going to dip the tyres in, they're going to be stuck in there at least until you can get the weight back across the other way.
At 100 miles an hour, well, that was a hell of a hold, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, it just, as you were saying, I didn't go off. I did actually go off in a very similar way to what we've just seen there.
Right.
It was just a case of the tyres getting off the track. And just really, in my case, was off the throttle, making sure I didn't spin, and just guide the car back onto the track before I lost it. So very well held, as we saw there.
Do you think the drivers will be taking this, I mean, presumably not quite as seriously as the preparation for round one? It doesn't really buy you anything, given last season I think we did the shakedown at the same track as round one, which obviously then means that, you know, you can consolidate your learning and continue. I mean, it's not a hugely dissimilar track we've got coming up, but it's also important to get used to the rhythm and the cadence of a race preparation. How do you balance that out? I mean, are you already? I assume you're already training for Interlagos.
Absolutely. So I would say that the Shakedown's a good opportunity for everybody to really take something seriously ahead of round one, really get a taste for what the other drivers are capable of and know who you've got to look out for when you go into the first round. In terms of our own experience, training wise, we've been using Interlagos, which is of course round one for the G Series. As our testing ground. So when we were going through car selection, we were running all the cars around Interlagos. So I'd like to say that we're fairly familiar with it now. But that's not to say that there's not still stuff to learn. So watch this space. I think we're going to have a really hotly contended round one of this season. It's going to be a good watch.
We've got Arya in the pits, and we've got Red out on very old medium tyres there. Remember, he used the softs at the start of the race. There's still 10.5 laps left to run, so that's still quite a big ask. Although in the Porsche, it's going to be slightly easier managing the front to rear weight distribution on the tyres. Into the pit lane then comes Red. He was definitely being held up there on that lap by Tequila Monkey, who's on the hard tyres at this stage. So I imagine Tequila will be thinking about maybe a set of softs towards the end of the race at this stage, but we're into lap 15 now of the 24, so 10 laps to go. We have Pat Finn in 6th, Arya in 5th, Niki Lauda in 4th place for Team Morado, Wask now in 3rd in the McLaren, having led the race earlier on. We've got VRX in P2, but right out in front for Team Morado, you've got Tap there, 19.8 seconds, and still keeping that set of medium tyres alive, Brum.
Absolutely phenomenal. Really good to see. And I don't know if you caught that, but it looks as though Red has actually dipped in for a second pit stop. So I don't know if that was maybe did he take up any damage? But it looks as though he's got fresh tread on and he added a little bit of fuel in there as well. So maybe he's really ready to throw down the gauntlet and see if there's any opportunity for him to push forward.
Yeah, I think he had a little struggle after his first pit stop and dropped down to last. And he's just gone in. The front left on his car was looking very poor, so I think it was definitely the right time, if not slightly late, given that he was a little bit slower on the previous lap, stuck behind our driver Tequila Monkey there. We've got VRX then in the new Argento colour scheme. Nice to see so many drivers have got their liveries sorted. I'll ask you for your opinion, Brum, as to your second favourite livery.
I do like the green. I really like the what they've done there with the McLaren. I think it works really well. The Peugeot, though, got to say, when they unveiled that, that really did kind of made me stop and pay attention. But of course, I'm going to pick one that's the favourite. I've got to say it's Morado. The
exactly.
Morado livery is clearly the best.
Definitely, I'm sure, absolutely. But I think I was very excited by the chrome finish that looked like it was on the sock design. I think of the Team Argento. Maybe it was more of a group design. But in this big willow overcast sky, that silver section does look more of a silver. So I can't be quite sure. In the night conditions, I imagine if that is a chrome, it will look absolutely stunning. But as it stands, I feel like it's not quite as good as I was hoping it would be when I saw the screenshots. So maybe this is just a very cloudy sky situation, and we'll get a better view of the livery later on. Or they might tweak it for night races. I think I don't know if we're still allowed to do small amounts of livery changes for races. I got really into it, and then I got told we couldn't really do it. I was adding a little, custom stickers for different races and stuff, and we were told you can't really keep changing it. You can just have one major change per season. That was it.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Webbo messed it up for everyone. So
yeah, it was clearly all my fault. Absolutely.
No, the Peugeot looks fantastic, and you're right. I think it is unfortunately a case of the weather doesn't really do it justice. But hopefully, round one Interlagos will get some bright sunshine, and they'll really look their best then.
Tap from the lead of the race pits, and just before he loses that lead to VRX himself pits. Looks like lap 7, end of lap 16, end of lap 17, start of lap 18 is the lap for those fast drivers to make the decision. Wask, of course, pitted slightly ahead of this group. We saw what happened when he came out on his hard tyres. We'll see if something similar occurs to the other drivers here. We've got Tap, who's gone so deep into this race, Brum. He's going to try a 6-lap stint on the soft tyres. Talk to me about that. How do you rate his chances there?
Well, I mean, this is pretty much the exact same tactic that I took. Pushing the mediums as far as you can reasonably take them, and then slapping the softs on for the last few laps. And I think he's got the exact same amount of laps left that I had. So I know from the race I've just done that it's not going to be an issue for the first, say, 2 or 3. But the last set of laps certainly is going to be a challenge. But Tap is a very capable driver. I don't think he's going to have any problem at all keeping it on track, even if he does start losing traction from the tyre wear.
12.4 seconds is his lead at the front of the field. I don't think Wask was necessarily expecting to have quite so difficult a time here, but I would imagine that Wask lost at least half that deficit to Tap while he was off track on his new hard tyres. Of course, his tyres will maintain and stay good at the end of the race. Tap are likely to get quicker and then very much slower towards the very end. I'm sucking hard on Hopium right now for a close finish, I guess. But we've got Niki Lauda doing a great job as well for Team Morado, Brum. Niki, I think, blowing expectations away here in P3.
I mean, not blowing my expectations away. I know Niki is a fantastic driver. He's certainly been faster than me in practice, but I'd hope he would be. But yeah, Niki really blowing it away in the Ferrari. He seems to have really gotten comfortable with it very quickly. And I think he's only going to get faster as we get more accustomed to the vehicle and more comfortable with it. Not surprising at all to see him in P3, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially snatch that P2 away from Wask, and we can get him Team Morado 1-2.
That would be a big deal for the team here in G1. Start on a real high, but Niki Lauda does appear on the older hard tyres to be being reeled in right now by VRX in that Peugeot RCZ, and the mountains here at California in the background of our Big Willow circuit today, as we wait for the final 5 laps to finish out. We've got Aya in P5, but it does look like we're going to have a nice tight finish here for the final step of the podium. At very least, Tap leads Wask, and on screen we've got Niki versus VRX, who clearly can get the car much tighter into the Castrol turn 1. Niki, I think, is fighting really here with one hand behind his back with that those older hard tyres on the Ferrari 296. As the Peugeot much more nimble in the slower stuff as we head in towards that really technical, tricky turn 3, 4, 5 in section, where you can absolutely stuff it. Even at slow speed, it can be really easy to just meander uncontrollably off the circuit. And here we are into turn 5 and 6. And Niki, it's clear to me that VRX is hunting and waiting, and is waiting to pounce here. Very much in striking distance at this stage, Brom.
Well, I've just been following the rear of the pack. Phil has just passed Finn, snatched P10 off of him, and just as there must be a bit of a curse, you know. The limelight is shone on the driver, and he dips the tyres in the dirt, but he's managed to recover and he's back on track. Finn is hunting, but Phil looks to be so far keeping it together. The tyres look good. He's got just over half a tank, and with 4 laps left to go, well, 4.5 laps, see if he can keep Finn at bay or if he's going to have to let him by.
Well, that was exactly what we saw Finn do earlier on. Phil did exactly the same manoeuvre. Finn and Phil in 11th and 10th respectively. Tap leads Wask. We've got Niki Lauda trying to hold off here, and I know that Niki, because I race with him quite often, as so do you, Brum, on a Wednesday night. He's a very handy driver, especially on a Sunday morning. I remember on some of our Sunday morning races, he can show up in a Formula car. But for me, this is a little bit new to watch Niki in a GT3.
He seems to be capable no matter what he's driving, and if he's had any time at all to put in to learn, you know, where the braking points are and when to release his brakes, Niki is certainly a force to be reckoned with. Just having a little look at Tequila and Dirtbag. Looks as though there may have been a little bit of a jostling back there. Did you catch that?
No, not those two again. But no, I've been focusing on this battle for P3. So, by all means, describe it. But I don't know when this is actually going to kick off. It's lap 21 finishing. Lap 22 begins of the 24. VRX and Niki are side by side then. Niki still with the inside line, but I think VRX is going to be able to hold if he can just stop without getting that right-hand side of it out into the dirt. VRX round the outside, fantastic overtake. We've seen so many drivers struggle to complete moves or even be on their own on that particular path around the outside, but this was a particularly good one from VRX. He does have a slight tire advantage, but you can see visibly he's on the marbles and he was right on the ragged edge on the outside there, but he manages to get into that P3 position, and I think now we'll have an easier time getting away from Nicky, who will now be focusing, I think, on fighting Arya, who's on worse and softer tyres at this stage of the race. But a nice battle here, 3-4-5, VRX, Nicky and Arya. Let's have a look at what you were talking about to see where Tequila Monkey is relative to Dirtbag Larry. Well, looks like Larry, Brum, did he end up going off?
So I only caught what looked to have been maybe the end of something, just as they came round the final right-hander before the pit entry. I sort of switched over to, I think it was Dirtbag Larry, and saw there was some sparks and maybe some repositioning of the cars in the track. So I don't know if maybe they came into contact and just found their feet again, but it looks like we may have missed a little minor incident back there.
They're just such good friends, those two. They just love hanging out together on track. And I think just prefer it that way. Red is on the medium tyres and he's dragging his front left to death once again, but he's not bowed by it. Down the inside on Dirtbag Larry goes Red. Porsche versus BMW. You love to see it at a great racetrack as Larry goes rallycross driving. Red up into P7. I really enjoyed that one from Red. We've got Zenith Specs in 9th and Phil out in 10th place. Pat Finn. Pat, I'm sorry. Dummy did let me know, unfortunately, on my former team captain and Pat Finn's former team captain, that Pat is racing with significant damage and can't get to the end of this race soon enough. Tap leads ahead now of Wask. Tap just navigating some traffic at the back of the grid. The G1 field much closer together, I think, than the G2 field was at the end of the race, but Tap is way out in front, 19.5 seconds. He's only just, after 24 laps, getting through some of the rearmost drivers. So that is significantly closer, I think, than the other formula we've watched already today. Don't forget, folks, we still have the S1 group to come. We can't wait to see them. VR Hot Laps enjoyed my cut to Pat there. I don't think Pat is going to enjoy it at all. My apologies, Pat. He's going to kill me. He'll never race with me again. Anyway, here he goes round the outside. I would say that Pat has also been ill this week, so I'll give him that excuse. A nice slide to finish, but Tap is going to walk this one at a canter. Team Arado and Tap win in Willow Springs for the G1 division. Wask is going to be scratching his head a little bit about what went wrong on the first lap on the hard tyres, but he isn't finishing too far ahead here of newcomer VRX Mate, the Croatian driver. Wask to come home in P2, but tell you what, VRX 8 very happy with that finish. He's weaving the car around. Nicky's going to come home in P4. Bravo to Nicky and Team Morado for a 1-4, and Arya returning to us once again for Team Azul in 5th place. Teammate and former SF23 S1 champion in 2024 is Tequila Monkey, and he's rounding the final corner. You can see just how close the field is. They're still all finishing together here. Tequila Monkey's going to get that 6th position on the fumes. Red's got a bit more petrol in the car, but very little in the way of rubber on the front left tyre. Tequila home 6th, Red in 7th, and that will bring the BMW, which it looks like is not the track for the BMW, home in 8th. Dirtbag Larry, 9th Zenith Specs, Phil home in 10th, Pat Finn in 11th, but it's Tap, Wask and VRX, your podiums today, Brum.
Really, really pleased for Tap. Fantastically driven. 19 seconds clear is just next level.
It really is. That is foreboding. That is similar to season 1 and the shakedown where Vader nearly lapped the field at Lago. So let's hope that everybody else can take that as incentive to go looking for performance. He also got the fastest lap as well, Tap. No points for pole or pole position was randomized today. Wask was given that, but he finishes on the podium in P2. Not a bad day at all for Wask, but I think he'll see that one as potentially one that didn't so much get away from him, but he lost several seconds there. VRX in P3, Nikki 4th, Arya 5th, Tequila Monkey 6th, Red in 7th, Dirtbag Larry in 8th, Zenith Specs, Phil and Finn are your 11 car field. Hopefully we might just have a full field for S1. Let's cross our fingers and wait and see. Yeah, we will be back with more coverage very soon. But for now, we'll take a well-earned pause, Brum, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Dun, dun, dun. Apologies, folks. I'm just trying to sort out Hector. See what I can see if we can get it working before we get underway. So let's see if that is going to work. And overlay. So the track map will be wrong today. That overlays Hector, but at least we get to give it a little try and see whether Hector is going to behave for us. I hope he will. As we hit refresh. As I say, that we're not in Road Atlanta for the race today. We are in the Big Willow configuration at Willow Springs. have a look. Okay, so everybody, as I cut to the wrong thing, welcome back to SVR. This is the S1 top tier of Formula Racing, the OG, the main event, as it were, here at SVR, as we have Agala will be represented by Run DMC and Christo this season. Mega Racing will be fielding Vader, our current champion and defending champion of S1. Switching teams, Mappy with him. We've got V8 Eater and PSV V8 Eater and Soulshock for PSV, with Hector Motorsport fielding Matt Debater and Pumpkin, Vicinity, Beragos, Albro, Carga, Cyana, Redux, and Jose Luis Cervantes. Rosa Racing are Kyra Krasenberg, and we are straight into the action as we hit the button exactly on the money, thanks to Soulshock there for being so super quick with everything, as we get ready then for the final race of today, the final shakedown event, and Vader gets the pole position. That hardly seems fair, does it? As we get ready, it's Vader against Beragos with Jose Cervantes and Matt Debater on the second row of the grid. I'll bring Brum in very soon. We're ready for the final shakedown, and it's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Vader with a big step out in the back of the car. Beragos straight into the lead, and it looks like Jose Luis Cervantes running into P2 there in the Cadillac sponsored for the time being team car. We've got then, it looks like Matt Debater in the Hector car moving forward up into P3, and it is all out of shape then for our Jose Luis Cervantes, the Mexican, and then there's an Agala car and a Hector Motorsport car coming together in a huge way as Pumpkin King goes absolutely flying and Jose Luis Cervantes drops down the racing order. Let's have a look at how this all came down. The Agala car on the right hand side getting together, and then wow, that was Pumpkin King on recovery, but seeming to drive directly into the car. I'm sure that wasn't quite as revengeful as it looked from the outset. We've got cars all over the place, and you wouldn't believe, Brum, for a second, this was the pros here in the S1 division.
I mean, blowing the cobwebs off, I suppose, getting the incident out early. A bit of a shame to see, but wow, yeah, what a start to the first lap.
That was unreal. Vader holding firm though in the end and actually managing to stick into that P2 despite that poor start and being overtaken by Jose Luis. Got Vicinity and Matt Debater in the pits already. That must be for damage repair. Soulshock's in fourth, Run DMC third. We've got Pumpkin King somehow, some way in P5, and Jose Luis at the back of the drivers, group of drivers who have yet to pit. They did not start this race on a full tank of fuel. Vicinity and Christo are out of the pits and line astern, side by side almost, through that turn two. As Mappy is leaving, joining and leaving. I think Mappy's been left for dead in the lobby, unfortunately. Christo then down into P9, and he was the one that suffered, I think, with the contact directly with Pumpkin King there. But the more things change, Brum, the more things stay the same. Beragos and Vader out front by a country mile already.
I mean, they're just setting the pace early on, see if they can hold it all the way throughout. But I mean, Vader quite clearly there is chomping at the bit to get a taste of that P1 glory. I think just on the Mappy, I did see him, I'm sure, on that first set of corners. I think he was sent out into the dirt. So I'm not sure if he had checked in without realising or what had happened there. But it looks as though, yeah, unfortunately we've lost him for the shakedown.
Absolutely. So Monkey is asking if I can turn Hector off. We are trying to test the tower, so I do apologise that we do have the problem with Hector there covering the Willow Springs. You can still see, as far as I can see anyway on my view, you can still see the track map of the correct track. But yeah, we are just trying to test the tower. This is a shakedown event, so I will probably politely decline your offer, as we'll get some Jose Luis Cervantes action in picture as well, and we can get you those extra views here while we're using the system. We've got Beragos leading by 0.6 of a second, but there is still loads to fight over. 32 racing laps here for these drivers, as Run DMC and Soulshock are in third and fourth position. Somehow Pumpkin King rescuing this at this stage. He's 9 seconds off the lead only, and by the way he went off the circuit, I thought he was going to be plumb last and for some time. So this is Pumpkin King in P5 and Jose Luis Cervantes out there in P4 that you have got picture in picture on your screen as well. Yellow flag ahead of Jose Luis. So is that a problem then for Pumpkin King off the circuit? Yes, indeed it is. Pumpkin King rejoining slowly at this stage. Let's see what happens. And it's just one of those situations, unsighted, out onto the marbles, and not for the first time in this particular part of the track as well. You've got Pumpkin King, and I think we may have just caught a cheeky little reset to track as well, Brum.
I think, unfortunately, it seems that there's another curse of the commentator. You were just commending for his ability to have kept it on track and to have retained his position, and lo and behold, you change the focus onto somebody else, and he goes, wait, I'm not done spinning. So maybe he just wanted to get some more practice in the dirt before he gets serious for the rest of the laps.
It's possible. We've got Christo off as well. Christo off on the dirt, unfortunately. That one's not going to get blamed on me, I'm sure, as we head up, because I call what I saw as it happened. Here we go. This is what happened with Christo. Now, Christo was a teammate of mine as a reserve for some time last season. And I just can't explain sometimes the way these cars are just spat off the circuit, Brum, and then clatter into the air. And of course, Big Willow, famous for its huge uninterrupted runoff areas before the car actually resets and you get back to it.
Well, just looking at that replay, it looked to me as though he's gone in quite hot into that change in elevation, and I think if that's not a snap of the wheel that has just sent him slightly off skew, I wonder if it was just maybe the suspension being a little stiffer than it should have, well, not should have been, but a little stiffer than it could deal with at that point in the track, and it's just sent him off.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll change screens over to Matt Debater as he's currently running in, I think that's 4th position, is it? No, he's down in 8th right now. Very unusual to see Matt, but he did have to pit on that first lap. At the end of the first lap for damage repair. He's out 35.4 seconds away from the leaders of this race, unfortunately. As we have a look at where Vader and Beragos are, well, there must have been a problem for Vader because he's dropped 10 clear seconds behind Beragos. We saw this occasionally last year. We saw it a lot in the first year, and occasionally last year Vader just dropping off the circuit and pushing that little touch too hard. And this track, among very few, is probably the most punishing when it comes to pushing just a little bit too much. There is no such thing as false track limits or runoff areas here at Willow. It is just death traps over the white line.
That dust just gets everywhere, and I think unfortunately it's at these higher speeds, even with the downforce, you only need a little bit of a slip and that's it. It could all be over.
Really shocking for me to see Vader dropping those 10 seconds. Solshock is in 3rd. He's got Jose Luis Cervantes just behind him. Jose likes to go by the moniker the Mexican, and we know that he's a huge Sergio Perez fan, so that's probably why he's decided to race in the Cadillac colours for today anyway, as he is using that overtake to try and stay with and eventually overtake, of course, Solshock. Medium tyres for both drivers at this stage of proceedings. Looks like hard tyres for Vader. That could have fed into the problem. I don't want to make excuses for drivers, but sometimes it is pure and obviously the case. This new black and gold PSV car, I'm sure Solshock at least had a hand in the design work of it. We will try and get up close and personal with those new liveries throughout the course of the season, but before the season starts, of course. But flashing by in the California sunshine, this looks like a very smart race car. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, that's just what?
I'm not even going to say it.
I didn't even say it was looking like a fast race car. Off the circuit we go, unfortunately. And then he's joined very quickly, probably in the dust and dirt, by one of the Igala cars, the former Burkestein Transport Service cars, unfortunately. So not the best of sequences there, unfortunately, as Jose Luis gets back up into a podium paying position at this stage. Pumpkin King's in 4th. Run DMC for Igala is 5th. So it must have been somebody else that was off the circuit there with Solshock, who's now pitted, I'm sure, for the damage to be repaired. It must have been Christo who followed Solshock off the circuit, but I can't necessarily blame Christo for that. there was a cloud of dirt and dust, and a flying car up in the air as well.
As you rightly say, that is a really eye-catching livery, so I wouldn't blame Christo if he was trying to work out who all the sponsors were, and unfortunately just followed him off track a little bit further than he should have done.
Pumpkin King off again, this time on the exit of the tight right-hander, and possibly doing another reset to track. It's a possibility. Anyway, I'm not sure he's quite read the rulebook in complete form here. I don't think that is a reset point of the circuit, and a spin then for Pumpkin King. He's adapting from what could be the most different vehicle, the older GT3 Porsche from last season for Delesi there, Brum. He's back with his teammate now, Matt Debater, who made his way through. So it's Matt Debater and Pumpkin King for the Hector Motorsport Group. This is way more ragged than I was expecting S1 to be.
Yeah, I think if anything, this has been possibly the most what's the appropriate terminology here? Is the most action-packed. There's been more off-road in here than I think we've seen in any of the other races.
Absolutely. So we've got Beragos around the outside of the final corner there, still holding that 10.5 second gap to Vader behind, as we watch Matt Debater picture in picture. And if you were in doubt, he's got his name on the halo, which is a really nice touch for anybody watching. So very cool to see. Vader in P2, reigning champion, and Beragos, I'm sure Brum would absolutely love to stick it to Vader in this first race of action in 2026.
It certainly looks as though that's his intention. He's running away with it at the moment. That the gap is closing slightly. He's just touching the 10 seconds. He's down into 9.8 now. But you can see the tread on his mediums is starting to really fall away. That left front looks as though it's going to become a problem for him very soon as he's coming into that big left-hander. I wonder if he's now going to take the opportunity to get into the pits and grab some fresh tread, or is he going to push it for another lap?
Well, he did drop 0.6 of a second that last lap to the previous one. I think this lap's going to be even worse. And I thought he was going to the pit lane, but he faked us out there, didn't he? We're about approaching 1/3 distance, and if you're going to split the race from the medium to the hards, then a 1/3, 2/3 might be about the right way to go. But he's going to brave it for another lap. So I'll tell you what, let's put him picture in picture on what will be a tricky, no, in fact, ironies of all ironies, Beragos, while he is streaming on Twitch, hasn't connected to Hector that he created today, unfortunately. So I can't give you his picture in picture. You can search Beragos. I think there's only one on Twitch if you do want to watch his POV on a separate screen. So Beragos, 8.1 seconds. This is a big loss in the last few laps, Brum to Vader. But you'd have to expect that roles will be reversed later on.
Well, just looking at the compound, so Vader's on the hards. He's got a lot of life in those, and obviously Beragos is going to have to pit soon to go and switch out from those mediums. So still all to play for, and there we go. He's gone in, so Beragos is switching those tyres now. I think that's going to give Vader the opportunity to now get ahead. Is that going to get us into a neck-and-neck situation?
Run DMC off the circuit at the halfway point of the track, unfortunately in the new Igala livery. Following vicinity, could be a touch of dirty air here, although it was at a fairly slow speed. Wow, he absolutely wrenched the car across. That was just too fast, I think, into that slow section. Managed to miss the barrier. That would have been huge damage for his car at that point. Well, I was going to show you the livery, but it's covered in dust right now, so you can't see anything, unfortunately. But Run DMC out there, yeah. Unfortunately, it's not going to work on a white car, is it? Californian sand. Out of the pit lane comes Pumpkin King. He'll be hoping these hard tyres do bed in quite quickly, because he's struggled at this point. I don't know if you've heard from Pumpkin at all, Brum, in the off season, but this looks like perhaps he's arrived a little bit less prepared than anybody else on the circuit today.
I've not caught up with him as much as I would like to have done, but from what I gather, he's had a rather full-on period. So I think he's as happy as he is to be back. I'm not sure he's quite had enough time as he would have liked to otherwise to have gotten familiar. So right. Hopefully he gets some more time in now before round one. But the combination though, Willow Springs with these cars, I mean, I can't really blame anybody for sending
Absolutely. Yeah, or being sent by the track here as Pumpkin King. So I'm not sure there's a lot of intention behind some of the situations that we're seeing on track at the moment. Soulshock is in 8th place. He has pitted, gone on to the hard tyres in his black and gold livery. Tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow. Am I right? Anyway, I'm just learning everybody's new teams as we've had another car off. It's Run DMC off on the circuit. These are Gala cars, not seemingly very well engineered for this racetrack today, unfortunately. They have definitely been the most in the wars cars, as he has taken a very fast passenger ride there, Brum. That is a frightening course of action for Run DMC.
Now, what I will have to say is that Run has been our resident livery artiste, so I'm beginning to wonder, is this driving manner an intentional move to make sure he gets more time on the stream to show off that livery, because he has put together a phenomenal work. So little pirouette off into the dust, is that maybe the tactic to get him on the focus?
I can see we raced together Go Morado on the shark fin on the back of the car as well, so that definitely underlines what you were saying. Yeah, they've really gone to great lengths, as the Buckerstein team did last year, to make this colour scheme really spark and sing out there. Vader leads us at the moment, 3.1 seconds ahead of old rival Beragos. These two clashing frequently, and have been the pace of S1 for 3 years at this point now, and it's fantastic to see them still here, still pushing hard, and Beragos, I'm sure, desperate to stop Vader getting 2 titles. So of course they dispatched they lost Tequila Monkey, who dispatched himself to the G1 division from season 1. But Vader and Beragos have been firm rivals for the whole history of SVR. It's Jose Luis Cervantes putting in a good stint at the moment here in P3 after a difficult first lap. He's now 24 seconds away from the lead of the race. Matt Debater, your picture-in-picture car, is in 4th position, and you can hear the throttle overrun in the corners there of these SF23s as they get out of the turbo. I don't know how much time you've spent in these cars, Brum, but the turbo, I believe, is quite a tricky thing to manage and keep spooled up.
Yeah, I've not spent as much time in them as I would like. They're very unforgiving, and prefer to maybe take more of a leisurely approach to my driving. These things feel very white knuckle.
Yeah.
But in terms of the turbo, yeah, I mean, I know from running the radicals on a little event we did on the off season, that turbo, you just got to listen out for when is the right time to shift up. So I'd imagine that's been factored into the practice in these vehicles.
Some really good. I think you moved away from the mic slightly there at the end of your sentence, Brum. So I don't know if you're on a headset or you've got a table mic running. But yeah, we just lost you towards the end. Soulshock just did a little tour of the PSV golden race car. So hopefully that's doing nice. He's got a couple of red accents there with the YouTube logo, and appreciate everybody that puts a Webo sticker on the car as well. Pumpkin King is currently in 7th. Wow. That's getting incredible now. I'm going to just stop looking at Pumpkin King because he's going to watch this back in real time, Brum. And this was another moment where as the rear was lost into the slow section, and then he gets airborne, and unfortunately that was the end of that one, as the Agala car takes a penalty as well as they run through. So down to him.
Really technical part of the track, though. I mean, it was a challenge in the Group 3s. I imagine it must be even more difficult in these things.
Definitely. Well, Vader leads by 1.6 seconds now. Vader on the hard tyres. He changed them out, or did he start? He started on them, didn't he? And we've got Beragos, who started on the mediums, now chasing Vader down. And this is great, actually, because Beragos with the hard tyres, Brum, in this chasing position, can now try and pressurize Vader, who, despite himself, I'm sure, will not want to lose a position, even though he does still have to change those tyres out.
He'll be hanging on for as long as he possibly can, but as you can see there, he's down to he's pushing it to the limits as to what the hards are going to hang on for. I mean, we were running some practice today with the hard tyres. Granted, only in the Group 3s, not anywhere near as challenging as the Super Formulas. But I'd be interested to see how well he could hold on with the hard tyres at this place.
Beragos. That almost looked deliberate. It was so calm in the cockpit. He's put his two outside tyres off the racetrack through the final turn twice and survived. That was something else from our flying Finn here. Beragos doing his best as we use this fantastic gyro apex cam to see how much pressure we can put on Vader. But of course, it wasn't the quickest way through that final turn, so he did lose half a second or so. Vader will be watching his mirrors. We don't get time updates and gaps to the car behind, but we can in VR we can monitor our mirrors. Obviously, we can even sit up and turn and look in our blind spot if we want to. But that is, as I found out on Wednesday, not the best of tactics for general track awareness, and fell off a straight. Messing around like that.
It's good fun to try though. Yeah. In the carts, looking behind you, just turning the body fully around. But yeah, unfortunately, if you're still travelling forward, you're asking for trouble.
It's Matt Debater then is in 4th position. We've got Vicinity in 5th. Matt's kind of on his own here, 5 seconds away from Jose and 4 seconds away from Vicinity. Vicinity, another one of the OG drivers. We've got Soul Shock, who puts in a lot of work behind the scenes for the league. So we always want to make sure we thank Soul Shock for his contributions. I think today on hosting duties, and you can see these SF23s almost or do get slightly airborne coming out of the slow section, Brum. It's quite impressive to see.
Yeah, I think everybody's thankful for their downforce being dialed in. Otherwise, we may have seen some more of them take flight. I know that they were doing it in the practice, but certainly not what you want to be seeing going around 32 laps. Keep it on the track as much as possible, I think.
Absolutely. When did Beragos pit? I'm being asked. Joe has Chris asking when Beragos pitted. I want to estimate around lap 15, 16, but if he had connected to the Hector he created, we would be able to see his pit lap on the system. So I'm just going to get a little dig in there for Beragos because it's not cool. I asked him once whether he races with Hector in his ear and in his team radio, and he said no. Not because he doesn't want to use it, but because if Hector made a mistake or referenced something incorrectly, he would just obsess about it and want to try and fix it.
I can absolutely respect that. Yes. That's I admire the commitment. Yeah,
it's brilliant. So we've got Run DMC in the pits, Christo, his teammate, coming through. I wonder if this is the pit lap for the majority of our drivers to get off the hard tyre. Well, Christo's already changed. He's on the hards now. Beragos retakes the lead of the race thanks to Vader's pit stop. Vader comes out on the medium tyres. He wasn't able to hang out there long enough, Brum, to switch onto the softs. So with a 10.5 laps still to run, that's way too much for the soft tyres to handle.
Well, it's really looking like Beragos with his 7 seconds clear on his hard tyres, that he looks as though they're surviving through a lot longer. I wonder if we're going to see Beragos stay out and switch onto the softs for the final stint and really, really put up a fight. Vader's going to have a battle on his hands.
Absolutely, Vader is at his absolute best when he's trying to hunt down a victory, and this will be fascinating slightly later in the race. He's got a tyre compound advantage for a little while. But towards the end of the race, around lap 30-31, I would imagine his mediums will be in at least equal, if not worse condition than Beragos' hards, and we will have a fascinating fight to come. We've got Jose in 3rd. I'm being told in the chat by Jehos Chris that Beragos was connected at the start of the race. I know he started streaming, but I don't remember seeing his name on the tower, but I'm happy to be corrected when we watch back. So I will I'll give Beragos the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he disconnected through accident rather than anything else. Vicinity for Bro Cargo with the gold wheel rims. Do you find that a little bit presumptive to add gold accents to a car that hasn't won a championship, Brum?
I think it's more of a colour pairing, isn't it? I think the green and the gold works quite well, whereas perhaps a chrome could be a little garish. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that was just a colour scheme choice.
Fair enough, fair enough. We've got Matt Debater in P5. I was expecting a comment from one of our Aussies there to rib me for criticising having green and gold together, but yeah, I'll say nothing about Australian sport because we really can't comment here in the UK. Matt in P5 is 4.2 seconds away from vicinity. Matt himself has a 10.9 second gap over Solshock. I think that there's not a pit stop difference between them. There's definitely a tyre condition difference between them. But Matt, I think, is definitely unleashing all of his pace now after a tumultuous start of the race. I think Matt is going to try and get into P4 here. He can see his target from in front of him. He can see vicinity, and that is hugely important for a driver.
Well, yeah, and he's been up until only quite recently. He's had the fastest lap for many of the for a bulk of the race so far. He was running a 56, I think a 56 almost flat. But Vader he's really putting the hammer down, trying to chase down Beragos. He's put in a 55, almost a 55.8, 55.795, and I'm sure we're going to see even faster laps out of them now as the race winds down with the later laps. Do you reckon we're going to see a sub 55?
That's a big one. I mean, yes, I think so. Given Vader's pace at this point, I think Vader's definitely capable. I imagine Beragos would be had he been on the better tyre at this phase, and he's going to be on decaying hard tyres, and the gap has closed alarmingly. That is insane. How has Vader caught Beragos to this level? But I think that we are going to have our battle here. Beragos is definitely going to struggle as Vader looks down the inside into that final turn 9. Beragos just gets the tail ahead. Let's have a look at the difference in overtake. They're both using the overtake out of the final corner against each other as Vader chases him down. This is going to be a brilliant battle between the two. Beragos grounding out, Vader getting the dirty air and onto the grass, and what a save, Brum.
Wow. I think a lesser driver, certainly myself at that speed in that car at that part of the track, I would have been gone, but Vader showing us again why he was rightly crowned champion.
I mean, I saw drivers do that in the GT3s, and I marveled at it. When you can do that in an SF23, that's basically grinding the bottom of the car out on the ditch edge there. Incredible stuff from Vader, and he's straight back on Beragos' tail. This pace differential does look almost irresistible for Beragos as he takes that inside line again. They use the boost. Beragos peels across to the inside. He's not going to let him have it easy here, Brum, as Vader's going to go for the inside line. He'll be late on the brakes, but Beragos, of course, can take that racing line on the outside and holds on still. Absolutely brilliant to see these great rivals. Yeah. And look at the overtake button usage, and Vader gets so close again and goes bouncing over the dirt and gives Beragos a couple of seconds of breathing room, but of course he then is looking in his mirrors potentially, misses his braking zone for the slow stuff, and Beragos out on the dirt. They are pushing like mad here, and they've got a huge amount of gap between themselves and Jose Luis. 22.3 seconds, nothing to worry about other than beating the other man. Oh man, you love to see this kind of thing as we run through. Then at the end of lap 28, Vader looking for that inside line. Beragos hasn't been perturbed by that before, but he gives Vader, he yields to the corner. They both use the boost, and Beragos back by again. Absolutely brilliant. Vader was, I think, on the boost, at least for most of that straight, if not all of it, and he goes off into the ditch again. They are going to be loving this, I'm sure, because they haven't even touched at this point, and they are still having a tremendous ding-dong battle, Brum.
And Beragos has somehow managed to hang on with the tyres in the shape that they're in. He's managed to increase that gap back up to about a second. Vader's closing it back down now to about 0.4. But they're really pulling it out here. It's fantastic.
This is brilliant to see. We absolutely love it. So Grinch says, this is nuts. Let's go, Brokaga, says Lucas. So that's great. And Stefan is enjoying having us both on the mic here, Brum. It's definitely been a really fun addition. So good to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
We've got a slight amount of boost in the bank for Beragos in profit to Vader. There's a yellow flag coming up. There's a car completely off the circuit. So far off, our wide-angle trackside cam could barely see them. I'm not sure who that was, and Vader goes way off. That could be the race win gone. That's an incredible off from Vader. That's massive for him, and Beragos will be so relieved to see that happen. Let's take in this once again as we go right round the outside. Vader getting in its position where he's picking up a huge amount of dirty air, and it's like the car just didn't want to go the way he asked it to go, way across the racetrack. There's no slowing this thing down on that dust, and way out, and the game actually resets him straight back behind the corner where he was off. 6.7 seconds now the gap.
Oh, that's probably it all over for Vader now. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to settle for a P2, unfortunately.
In the top tier. Yeah.
But I mean, we may still see something. You never know. Still all to play for. Beragos is running those hards down to the wire. Never say never.
We've seen softs running to about 3 pixels left of white on the wear rate, but yeah, those hard tyres, they will hang on for a little bit longer, but they obviously get progressively worse, just a little bit slower than the other tyres. We've got Run DMC and Christo. This isn't looking like a great start to the season for Igala at this stage. Both in 8th and 9th positions. Pumpkin King is 7th in the Hector Motorsport car, and I'm going to skip off his car very quickly before anything happens. Soul Shock is in 6th place and 1 minute behind Beragos' lead. We've got Matt in P5, 2.5 seconds behind Vicinity. You can just see him up ahead. He has been catching them. And VR Hotlap says, that is a shame. That was great racing between them. Absolutely. I mean, it can't last. It just can't at Big Willow. But while it happened, we absolutely enjoyed it. That will be a tremendous clip for the channel in the midweek. The battle between Vader and Beragos, I'm sure, and the amount of off-track saves that happened before the big one, Brum, was just remarkable.
Well, just while you're doing the rundown there.
Yeah, go ahead. Just seen her.
Vader is closing the gap. He's closed down from about a 5-second gap to P1, so he's now down to 3.4.
Wow. We're on lap 31 here at the 5th position. Jose Luis, who's just spilt the car, unfortunately, and gone off the circuit. 3.4 seconds. It is the final lap. It's going to be Beragos who's going to take the shakedown race here at Big Willow. He slows down to cross the line. I don't know if he ran out of fuel. No, he was absolutely fine. Vader home in 2nd, and what a battle between the two of them. Beragos, though, for now at least, on top of the S1 division, and he will love that. How about this, though? For Brokaga, it's Vicinity who's going to come home and take home P3. I'm sure that will be incredibly welcome for him as a great start. As a former teammate of mine as well, and former captain, I'm so thrilled for him. Vicinity home on the podium, ahead of Matt Debater in P4. We've got Jose in 5th, who crashed on the penultimate lap and damaged the car. Soul Shock's home in 6th, with Pumpkin King, Run DMC and Christo home in the 9-car field. But take a bow. Beragos, what a tremendous result, and great result for the Brokaga team, Brum.
Really fantastic. They've all turned out today. The Brokaga guys have showed up and really showed us what they can do. Very much looking forward to seeing what they do with the rest of the season.
It was contrast that with last season's start for the first few races for Brokaga. I don't want to speak too soon, but what a hell of a start for that Brokaga team. So they have been absolutely pumping in the practice. It's fantastic to see. Beragos wins ahead of Vader, who took the fastest lap and had the pole position gifted to him by the randomizer. We've got Vicinity in P3 and Matt in 4th. Jose in 5th. He was on for a podium for most of the race there, Jose, so I think he'll be pretty disappointed at the end. Soulshock 6th, Pumpkin King 7th, Run DMC 8th, and Christo Home in 9th. Mappy, unfortunately, I think was a DNS, not a DNF, but it's logging him as a DNF, so that's what we will take it down. Beragos Vader in Vicinity, Brum, the podium. How do you reflect on these shakedown races before we say goodbye to everybody?
Well, I had thought that it was a really nice pace set by everybody. It wasn't too eventful, but then S1 has come through, and I think I'm going to have to go and have a stiff drink after that one, just to kind of level off. Fantastic performance. Everybody today really, really showed up and showed us what they're made of. So if this is the state of things to come, very much looking forward to seeing what the season shapes up like. And the standard of driving already, really something to keep an eye on. Really good job, everybody. Unfortunately, a bit more dust than we would have liked to have seen, but that's what you get with Willow Springs.
Absolutely. I will just take you through the calendar, but a big thank you to Brum. Everybody in the chat do say nice kind things about Brum, and thank him for his time. He went racing in the G2 race and has been with us throughout the course of this almost 3-hour stream now at this point. So thanks so much, Brum. I'll catch up with you later, and I'll just take everybody through the calendar as things stand for the next part of this season. So we will be starting. I made a mistake. Did I? I think we're starting in Suzuka. This is for the Formula drivers. We're starting in Suzuka, onto Fuji and Tokyo. Very Japanese start to the season, and then on to Gilles Villeneuve and Catalonia. Gilles Villeneuve will be a very welcome addition to the circuit. I am a little bit sad that we don't get to go to Lago Maggiore for the start of the season. Nürburgring Grand Prix, Red Bull Ring, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and then Monza, Watkins Glen, Interlagos, and Yas Marina rounding out the season. And we are slightly different then for the GT3s. We'll be starting in Interlagos. We're going to Watkins Glen. This is kind of mirroring the IGTC, the International GT Championship racetrack. So fantastic to see these classic and iconic circuits featuring and finishing the season at Mount Panorama on the 27th of September. But we start, of course, let me get this exactly right. We start on the 1st of March, and then we go every week at 5 p.m. UK, or whatever that translates to your local time. Thank you so much to everybody for your attention and everybody. So Grinch says Brum loves beans, just to finish us off. And thank you to everybody for watching this absolute marathon of a stream today. We will catch you on the 1st of March. Thank you so much, and we will see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next race day.